gave away $85 billion to Ukraine, and that definitely didn't help anyone.
So Trump spent twice as much as the Biden-Harris administration in his first term. According to the CRBF, he spent $8.6 trillion. Biden spent $4.6 trillion. So the main driver of his expenditure was his tax cuts, totaling to $1.9 trillion, which was non-COVID related expenditure, where 80% of the cuts in the bill went to the top 1% earners, and it only increased our GDP by around $40 billion per year, or a 0.04% change.
Okay, so
he spent more and he caused more inflation.
But what did he spend their money on?
I just told you.
Spend it on us?
If you'd like a full breakdown of
He
every
spent it
dollar,
on America?
If you'd like a full breakdown of every dollar spent, feel free to reference the
It was on
CRBF
America?
page comparing the expenditure.
Was it on America he spent the money on?
I mean, do you want to like constitute a generalization of top 1% earners as being representative of you and me?
I mean,
If
I'd
you
rather
do,
it be
call
spent
that.
in America than in another country.
So let me get this straight. $1 trillion out of that tax cut bill went straight into the pockets of multimillionaires and billionaires. And they did not reinvest it into their company. They spent it on yachts and jewelry. Okay.
How many tax
And
breaks
you
did
think-
the politicians
And
get?
you think, Amanda, and you think that that is more preferable than a couple $1 billion spent to stop innocent people from getting slaughtered. Trillions of dollars spent on yachts and jewelry for billionaires with no return to the average American is more preferable than a couple $1 billion to stop innocent people from getting slaughtered. Really?
Who are they to you?
Who are they to me? They're humans, just like you, just like me.
But if you lived there, would you be wanting sympathy from other people? Or would you want people to help you?
I would absolutely be wanting others to help me. Are you kidding?
Okay. So did you donate to Ukraine?
Did I donate to Ukraine? I've personally met with Ukrainian refugees. Shut up, bro. Please. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. This is outrageous. This is like, come on, Amanda, answer my question. What is more preferable? $1 trillion being spent just on alleviating the tax burden
American
of
soil.
top 1% earners that they don't reinvest back into their business, that is spent
Right.
on yachts and jewelry that does not trickle down to the average American, that does not increase GDP growth. Just $1 trillion for the most wealthy people in as you define the best country on earth, or a couple $1 billion. So a fraction of $1 trillion, a couple $1 billion spent to stop innocent children from getting decapitated in Ukraine.
Decapitated? No, that's the Middle East.
So you don't think that Russia's been committing war crimes against Ukrainians?
Not decapitation. They just blow them up. They don't decapitate them. That's
Oh yeah, they just blow them up. And then also like
they have
perpetuating.
nuclear warheads. What do you expect? They have missiles.
So
They're
answer.
bombing each
So
other.
Amanda, answer my question.
Okay. I told you I would rather have the money spent on American soil.
Okay,
and
so say
have
it out
the
loud.
American growth.
So say it out loud, Amanda. I'd rather $1 trillion be spent on billionaires with no return for the American economy. They spend it on yachts and jewelry than a couple $1 billion to stop children from blowing up in Ukraine. Say that out loud.
Just children. Come on. They're literally in a war. They've been in this war. I can't help that they're in this war. I can't prevent this shit. It's been going on long before you and I have ever been
So
alive.
I just want you to say it out loud.
ever?
Longer than you and I have been alive. This has been going on. I can't prevent it.
Ever help anybody ever?
Hey, can we help anybody ever, Amanda?
Not in that sense. No.
So
That's not our war.
we spent a lot of money fighting the Nazis on the European front of World War II. Was that a bad idea?
No,
Why?
because that was a situation that was pretty intense. They were exterminating one type of people.
So it was bad because they were very obviously and
They
blatantly
were
committing human
trying
rights
to
violations,
kill
right?
a whole race.
They're
They were
very
trying to-
obviously they're trying to like cleanse a group of people, and that was a very
Yeah,
obvious,
genocide.
blatant human
Yes,
rights violation,
genocide.
right?
You do realize, Amanda,
So-
too, right, that people in the 1930s here in the United States were making the exact same arguments that you're making right now about why we should not be involved because it's not our fight, because we weren't at war with them at the time, not until 1941. And so, like, people, made the exact same arguments.
So you draw your line at genocide, but not at ethnic cleansing. Why?
It's the same. That genocide
not the
was
same.
ethnic cleansing.
Okay, so if you think ethnic cleansing is genocide, there's like a distinction in the definitions. Genocide can be ethnic cleansing. It's not necessarily ethnic cleansing.
That's the attempt.
But let's just assume that what you're saying, okay, that's fine by me. So just under your view, then Russia's genociding Ukrainians.
I mean, yeah, but Ukraine is also doing it back.
Wait. So you actually affirm that Russia's genociding Ukrainians?
Yeah, but they're also doing it back.
So
they're all doing
is
it.
Genocide?
They're all killing each other. I don't know what to tell you other than
Dude,
I can't.
I'm gonna give you the facts.
Stop them from that.
Who invaded who? Did Russia invade Ukraine or did Ukraine invade Russia?
Well, it's Ukrainian territory that was once Russian. So yeah, it's
so who's the instigator?
Old Russia, obviously. They're always the instigator.
So Russia invaded Ukraine. And
Right.
and I have another question. Okay. So when Crimea was annexed by Russia in 2014, what was Ukraine's response?
I don't know about 2014, Dean.
Not much. They didn't really retaliate against the Russian militants. Now that we understand that when
So
Russia
basically-
first, no, you're gonna go out and listen to me. So when Russia first aggressed against Ukraine, had Russian militants annex Crimea, and we didn't see much of a retaliatory response to that by the Ukrainians because they didn't want to kill people like Russians did. Okay, then we move on. A couple years pass. All of a sudden, the years like 2020, 21, 2022. Russia then launches a full-scale invasion of the rest of the country to, under your own definition, genocide the rest of the Ukrainians. Okay, and then you're telling me that the Ukrainians have been genociding them back. I don't think so. I think that what we've seen is a constant trend of Ukraine fighting to defend their land, employing self-defense, while offering Putin and Russia ceasefire agreements quite frequently. I mean, think about it. How many ceasefire agreements has Zelensky offered to Putin since Trump's presidency started? 3 or 4. How many of those ceasefire agreements has Putin accepted? 0. So when you want to paint this picture like they're both the problem, you're just lying. You're straight up fucking lying. Russia annexed Crimea around 10 years ago. Ukraine gave a humanitarian response, did not militantly respond to the Russian militants in Crimea. Just still considered it a part of their country. Moves on. 2021, 2022 rolls around. Russia then invades the rest of the country, continues to genocide the Ukrainians. Their response is to defend themselves, okay, while offering multiple ceasefire agreements to Putin, begging him to stop, and then Putin disagrees, and he keeps it going. Now justify and explain to me why I'm wrong and how Ukraine's also the problem.
All right. So all I know, Dean, is Russia would have never invaded Ukraine if Joe Biden was not our president.
Pivot, explain to me why I'm wrong.
What were you saying before?
Yeah, so
I didn't listen. I wasn't listening to you.
Yeah, Amanda, you made the claim that they're both genociding each other. I proved that wrong.
Prove it wrong?
I did. Yeah, so prove me wrong.
Oh,
I
you
explained how
proved
that's
it.
not true. Yeah, I explained to you how Russia is purely is obviously the aggressor, and that Ukraine is merely defending themselves, and every opportunity they've had to give a humanitarian response to Russia, such as their annexation of Crimea in 2014, or the 4 different ceasefire agreements that Ukraine has sent to Russia since the beginning of Trump's term, that have all been rejected by Russia, by the way, have been implemented and have been very, very, very important to Zelensky.
Basically, because Ukraine is corrupt as shit, and Russia wants them gone for being so corrupt to their people. And
Okay, so that's actually not what Putin said. You're spreading Russian propaganda that even Putin won't spread.
Russian propaganda.
Yeah, but it's like so far from the truth. It's so delusional that not even Putin will say that. In his interview with Tucker Carlson, he was straight up like, "Yeah, that's just my land. I want it back." like you're telling me that Ukraine was so corrupt and that's why Russia has invaded them. Yeah, that's purely I would use I'd use the phrase criminal propaganda, but that is literally so pro Russia and so anti-truth that not even Putin claims that.
Do you know how many people died in Chernobyl?
God, what a pivot! I want you to respond to what I said.
No, really. Do you?
No.
What point does that have?
Well, the Soviet Union claimed that only 33 people died, and that's how corrupt they are.
The Soviet Union?
Yeah, Russia.
Yeah, when it was
Russia?
When it was,
Yeah,
when it
Russia?
was-
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
KGB.
You're so not smart that now you're just justifying that Russia's the problem without even knowing it. How do you not know that?
Is that part of Russia?
Wait, so your argument is that mainland Russia was not a part of the Soviet Union, but Ukraine was? Actually,
it was Soviet Union.
Actually, Ukraine, when the Soviet Union dissolved, Ukraine hated the corruption of the Soviet Union so much that they didn't conjoin with Russia and they formed their own nation. They hated the Soviet Union so much that they left the Soviet Union when it dissolved and formed their own nation. Meanwhile, people like Putin sticked around, killing their political opponents, prosecuting people for really whatever reason they want, and as you admitted, aggressed and has begun a genocide amongst Ukrainians.
Yeah, Dean, it's almost as if, back then, Ukraine had the word Soviet in their name.
Dude, I like these takes are so ahistorical and anti-human. Like, honestly, if you want a summation about the way that you think and feel, Amanda, ahistorical and anti-human. Like, not only is it false, not only is it like made up propaganda, not only is it like pro-tyranny, pro-oppression, pro-depression, pro-aggression, pro-dictatorship, and pro-fascism. It's anti-truth, it's anti-intellectual, and it's anti-human.
So you don't think that China wanting to invade Taiwan is bad?
Fucking hell. Okay, I actually do think that's bad. Thank you so much. Don't see the relevance.
Okay, but why is that not as bad as this? Like, all countries do that shit. So why is this as bad as any other country infiltrating and wanting land? Like Israel and Palestine. Like, what's the difference?
There's this thing called democracy and Western values that we uphold, and we don't like authoritarian regimes to take them over. So we like to protect those things.
Wait.
Not in our country. You're right. Not in our country, correct. But other countries, we don't have that dictation.
That sure, Russia is colonizing and ethnically cleansing Ukraine. They're the obvious aggressor. You can't contest my fact. But because there's other colonizers, because there's other aggressors, because there's other ethnic cleansers across the globe, it doesn't really matter too much. And it's funny because you used a very specific example of Israel and Palestine. I also think that Israel is ethnically cleansing Palestine. Wow! Holy fuck! Is that logical consistency? Beats you. I was going to say beats me because that's the same, but it doesn't beat me. It beats you. And then also, if you're basically saying that, well, if enough bad people do the same bad thing, that thing becomes less bad over time, I disagree. Quick question. Was the first American slave owner just as morally reprehensible as the last American slave owner?
It's glitching out.
Was the first American slave owner just as morally reprehensible?
It's glitching. What'd you say?
Was the first American slave owner just as morally reprehensible as the last American slave owner? Was the
are you asking me? It was glitching out. I'm sorry.
Just as morally reprehensible as the last American slave owner? Oh, but there's a bunch of slave owners that came in between the first and the last. And in according with your logic, because a lot of people did it, why do we care? Oh, so bad things only
because
matter
it was in our
when they
country and it was wrong.
Wow.
What benefit is it ours? What benefit is ours to get involved in something that literally we can't control?
I want you to verbally and explicitly confirm or deny that you think that bad things only matter when they happen in America. It's not what I asked.
Because we have control here and we don't in other countries.
I'm talking about ethics and morality. Are bad things only bad when they happen in America?
Right, because we don't have control in other countries like we do in America. So if it happens here, I have way more concern for our country.
Was the Holocaust
I still don't know what your question was.
Did that happen in our country?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
So you just contradicted yourself. That's a good contradiction to have, though, because you shouldn't believe that bad things are only of concern if they happen in our country.
Other countries were being involved in that too. If other countries got involved and started, it had to come to forces, then that's a different situation, Dean. But we're not being called to forces.
Would you rather 3 Americans
and protection
die or
for these countries.
300 Ukrainians?
What the fuck? I would much rather have 300 Ukrainians
one
die.
American die, or would you rather one American die or 1,000 Ukrainians die?
I don't care. A million.
What?
Wait. Would you rather have 1 American die or 1 million Ukrainians die?
Wait, no,
you're Nazi. You're a Nazi. Hey, Amanda, guess what? You're a Nazi. You're a Nazi.
You're
a fascist.
For every single Ukrainian.
Because I care more about Americans? You'd rather have an American die over 300?
Wait, do I know that American? What are they to me? Real quick. Would you rather drop a nuke on London, or have 1 American trip, fall, and bump their head?
Well, that's crazy.
Oh, that's... One American die or nuke on London? Are you going to nuke London or kill 1 American?
But
wait, a nuke would likely kill less people, less than 1 million people, given particular areas. So it's just about comparing British individuals to Ukrainian individuals. So you'd rather have 1 American die.
You said trip and fall, Dean.
So, then I revised it.
Over a nuke.
Would you rather kill 1 American
nuclear
or 1 million,
warhead? Come on.
Or drop a nuke on Britain?
Oh, the silence. Why?
Wait, so I want to...
I think a nuke is different. A nuke is extermination.
Is killing 1 million Ukrainians
it's complete extermination.
Not complete extermination?
A nuclear warhead is the end all.
Wait.
Plus
The
radioactive
I have a question.
feedback's going to cause a really bad problem to the world.
You'd rather kill 1 million people overseas than kill 1 American. So there was a little bit over 12 million. Hey, Amanda.
Yeah, I don't want to kill an American. I don't want to kill anyone.
Million individuals killed in the Holocaust. So would you rather kill 12 Americans or prevent the Holocaust?
Why?
What's the difference?
That's a difference.
Wait, this is a 1-to-1 comparison.
But also,
I'm giving you 1 American for every 1 million people overseas.
So
would you rather kill 1 American or support the Holocaust?
Well, here's the thing.
Wait, no, literally answer me. Would you rather kill 12 Americans or be Hitler?
So
you had no problem upholding this logic when it was about the Ukrainians. Right. So either would you rather kill 12 Americans or be Hitler and do the Holocaust? But I'm asking, it's a question. Would you rather kill 12 million people in the Holocaust or 12 Americans? Oh, so it's not crazy to want to kill 1 million Ukrainians? Earlier, you said you'd rather 1 American
but if it has to do,
save their life than 1 million Americans, 1 million Ukrainians lose their lives.
Yeah.
Right. So would you rather
I care more about
12 Americans from dying or prevent the Holocaust?
Well, like I said, I'm not trying to say I want the Holocaust to happen. But
answer the fucking question. Would you rather save 12 Americans or prevent the Holocaust?
I can't.
Okay,
I can't. That's a point in history.
Wait, the Holocaust had to happen?
Had to happen for us to be where we're at now.
Do you think that American slavery had an impact on where we're at now?
History. I can't.
So do you think that American slavery had to happen?
Yeah. Yeah, our country would not have been built without African Americans being our slaves, for real. Like that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, one of the most disgusting, abhorrent humans, in quotations.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say is that, and then I'll drop, is that if you want a test case for the Dunning-Kruger effect, that was it. That was it. There's no better a test case for it. Okay, Dean. Well, thank you for having me up again. So
yeah, I appreciate you for joining, Matt, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So that was one of the worst quote unquote humans I've ever had on this live. Saved one American, over 1 million Ukrainians. Slavery was good. The Holocaust had to happen. Okay. Yeah. That was so incredibly morally detestable. I mean, I can't even begin to fathom of how people come to those conclusions. Go ahead and drop a Maga down below in that chat if you do want to come up and have a conversation, y'all. We are just looking for some Trump supporters to debate. That was literally, dude. Oh my fucking god. What's going on, Thomas? How old are you?
18.
How old did you say you were?
18.
18. Do you support Trump?
Yep.
Okay, before we hop into our debate, I got to thank Mystic for the $5 over on YouTube Super Chat, LA with the $5, Ace with the $5, and then Winnie a little bit ago with the $20 over on YouTube Super Chat. Let's get 200 Winnie W's, as well as H with the $10 on YouTube Super Chat, with a $10 saying W for Dean, Matt Parker. You're all keeping us sane. Thank you so much for the love, H. And Sid, thank you for the $50 Super Chat over on YouTube, saying crazy time to join the stream. Yeah, that last guy was fucking bonkers. Absolutely Super Chat over on YouTube. Let's get 500 Sid W's down below. Thank you so much for the love, and it is great to have you in here with us today, Sid. Thomas, take it away. Tell us why you support Trump.
I support Trump because I believe he's doing a lot for the world, the Pakistan-India war already ended, already done. That's just one thing.
Okay, Jesus Christ, what a way to attribute things to Trump that Trump didn't do. So before they achieved a ceasefire agreement, J.D. Vance straight up said that America had instrumentally no involvement in India and Pakistan. But then after they achieved a ceasefire agreement, Donald Trump went on stage and said that he asked them very politely to get a ceasefire, and if they didn't, there'd be consequences. I'm not going to believe him. He told 30,000 lies during his first term. He claimed that he won the 2020 election, then covertly tried to steal it from Biden, even though he lost, and is still convinced that he won to this day. Quite frankly, yeah. And if you're so good at ending conflict, why isn't he ended Russia's invasion of Ukraine?
Because Russia and Putin is a whole other conversation and a whole other argument. When India and Pakistan started, he might not have done nothing, but he said he was going to do something, and that ended it then and there.
No, he actually only said that he said that in private to them after they had achieved a ceasefire agreement. Also, what's the big difference between Pakistan, India, Russia, and Ukraine?
Well,
nukes.
I don't think I got the answer
Ukraine
for that one,
Pakistan
other than Putin's insane. Other than that one, okay.
Right. So that's why India and Pakistan wanted to come to a resolution, so it didn't escalate to nuclear.
Because Trump would have stopped. Oh yeah, because Trump said he would have done something about it.
What did he say?
You don't think he had anything to do with it?
When did he say that?
I'm not sure.
After they already achieved the ceasefire agreement. What did his administration say before they achieved the ceasefire agreement?
Nothing, because the ceasefire agreement wasn't done.
Yes, they did publicly speak about it. JD Vance publicly said that the U.S. instrumentally and fundamentally has no involvement in India and Pakistan.
But yet afterwards they did. Where are you getting this from? How would they go to say they have no involvement to full involvement?
By lying. That's kind of my point.
Oh, so the Biden administration never lied about anything?
I lied significantly less.
What?
Lied significantly less? What's the biggest lie that Biden and Harris ever told?
What's the biggest lie Biden and Harris never told? Probably that they focused on the border. That's probably the biggest lie they ever told, that they cared about the border when they were letting hundreds, thousands of illegals over.
Okay, well, I mean, so this is what I call an arguable lie. This is going to be predicated via your own biases towards propaganda perpetuated by the RNC. I was more thinking blatant lies, right? Like when Donald Trump claimed he won the 2020 election. Now, if you want to pivot to talking about the management of the border under the Biden-Harris administration, sure, let's do it. Do you think we had an open border under their term?
Yeah, I know we have an open border underneath their term. If it wasn't, they can say it's closed, but if they're not stopping from nobody coming over, then it's obviously open.
Did they open it?
Obviously, you see 100,000. Okay, because the border's supposed to be protected by Border Patrol, who wasn't there. You had 100,000 different. If that's not true, then why did
the Biden-Harris administration funded Border Patrol more than Trump did under his first term, as well as they passed no executive orders, mandates, memorandums, and/or policies through Congress to revoke expenditure or placements for security on the border. So that's simply a lie, propaganda.
So the fact that you're saying they put more money into Border Patrol than Trump ever did,
right,
And that's the reason 100,000 illegal immigrants crossed over then, right?
That's the reason why you were lying when you told us that there simply was no border patrol on the border. So they funded border patrol
No
more
border
than
patrol
Trump.
doing their job.
So no border patrol doing their job. So did the Biden-Harris administration like mandate them to not do their jobs? How did they do that? What executive order?
They pushed an agenda that the illegal immigrants should be allowed to come over, that they're better for our country, when that was just a blatant lie.
Okay, so you're telling me that they got border patrol to not do their job by pushing an agenda?
Yeah, of
Okay,
course.
Okay, so I just want to clarify that like a motive, like an agenda. So would you be able to like indicate to me like a single representative of border patrol that said they couldn't do their job because of the Biden administration pushing an agenda? How does an agenda like mandate people to not do their jobs? Can you explain that one to me?
Yeah, of course, sure, 100%. Allowing illegal immigrants to come into our country and then giving them the right to vote. They're not going to vote for the guys that said they shouldn't be in here. They're going to vote for the Democrats who allowed them to come in freely.
We're still trying to determine how you think. We're still trying to determine how you think they allowed undocumented migrants to come into America. You're saying that they allowed them by opening the border, but you can't point towards any specific action that they engaged in to open the border. You can't name a policy. You can't name an executive order. There's no specific action you could point to. And then about the second claim that they could vote, Thomas, are you registered to vote?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, when you registered to vote, you had to give either your driver's license number, your SSN, alongside an accompanied name, date of birth, and address, right?
Correct.
All right. Do undocumented migrants have social security numbers?
Undocumented migrants? No.
All right, so they can't register to vote, right?
Correct.
Can you vote if you're not registered?
No, but under the Biden administration,
undocumented migrants can't vote.
It a law. But they were trying to make it to where they could.
Okay, who was trying to do that specifically?
Kamala.
Okay.
That was one of her.
So did Kamala Harris like push for policy in Congress to allow non-citizens to vote?
She said if people voted for her, she would allow illegal immigrants to come over. She would give them money for first-time housing. She gave them.
Great. Where's it? Can you give me like the statement from her where she said this? Because honestly, like I know that this is just made up bullshit, but it's going to be funny to watch you squirm when you can't provide me.
No. I don't remember the exact quote. Not at all.
Well, I mean, obviously, it's not that you don't remember it. It's that you're just like bold-faced lying to me. I could do that too. Yeah, like Donald Trump is a child rapist. You know, last night he raped a child. That's why you're trying to support him. He's a child rapist every single day, every single night. That he said that he was going to rape more children if he was. So I could do that too. I could just kind of lie to lie because that's what you're doing.
That's not a lie because
really? Then you'd be able to indicate to me how Kamala Harris specifically pushed for undocumented migrants to have the ability to vote in America.
Yeah, I've seen hundreds of videos online about how they were given free credit cards with a certain amount of money. I believe it was around $5,000 per illegal immigrant was given debit cards to buy groceries. Illegal immigrants who aren't allowed in the country.
Okay,
so without documentation.
So I'd like to point it out that even if what you're saying was true, this doesn't mean that she wanted them to have the right to vote. But what you're saying is false.
Okay, well, of course she wanted the right for them to vote, because if they were to vote, they would vote for her.
So your argument is that she pushed for them to have the right to vote because if they were to vote, they'd vote for her.
My argument is that
wait. Like, assuming that I was running for a public office, could you just say that Dean wants undocumented migrants to have the right to vote since I'm running for a Democratic seat? Because if they were to vote, they'd vote for me. No? Then also, you don't want them to have the right to vote. Wait. If you're saying that the only evidence you need to come to the conclusion that Kamala Harris wanted to push for undocumented migrants to have the right to vote was because they'd probably vote for her, this means that I could say that Donald Trump does not want to give anybody in California the right to vote. He's actively pushing to take that right away from everybody in California because if they were to vote, they'd vote against him.
Yeah, but that wasn't my evidence. My evidence was that
was your evidence. Right now, the claim that Kamala Harris wanted undocumented migrants to have the right to vote is just as valid as the claim that Donald Trump wants to actively push for people in California to not have the right to vote.
I said she let people come over. She was letting people come over. Biden was letting people come over because that would give her the right. Because what do you mean by not enforcing border patrol? They didn't. They just straight up didn't. You can say they did. Okay. But as far as I know, hundreds of thousands of illegals came over.
What did they not enforce that they should have enforced? Like what law?
The law to keep them out. Because when they came over,
like you have to be specific about like which legislation here. And by the way, let me know when you're done under the heat, and I can explain to you what actually happened under their term. But I'm just kind of detailing to the thousands of people watching. No. I want to apply a little bit more pressure on you because it's kind of cool to detail to like the thousands of people watching that like this is all just propaganda that's made up in your brain.
See, I've seen the illegals cross the river come over all kinds of them.
Yeah, but then you're saying because there's higher levels of undocumented migration into America under their term that they pushed for that, they wanted it, they allowed it. Okay, well, let's look at America in 2020 of April. Highest unemployment rate in the last 100 years, 14.8%. Guess what? Because Trump was president, that means he obviously pushed for it. He obviously wanted that. He obviously wanted that to happen, right?
Right? Just how 80,000 jobs under Biden's administration were completely false and never existed.
Are you talking about a jobs revision?
Yes.
Job revisions occur every single financial quarter. What the fuck are you talking about? You literally don't even know what you're talking about.
Biden said he created 80,000 jobs.
So explain to me the way in which job reports work from the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
I have no clue.
Obviously, you don't have any clue, or you want to be saying that they manufactured fake jobs. So they're continually revised over the course of a financial period. They take preliminary data where they're essentially estimating the amount of jobs that are going to be added to the economy in a given period, and then that is further revised closer to the period's end. Okay, so you don't have a final jobs report until the end of a financial quarter. It comes out maybe around like a half a month after the financial quarter ends. In some months, the final jobs report will be higher than what was projected, and sometimes it will be lower than what is projected. We also had a final jobs report under Donald Trump's first administration come in lower than projection, so the projection was cut, and nobody complained about it then, not even me, because that is just how statistics, when you're working with a labor force with a size over 200 million individuals works. But you're trying to use that against Biden because you're a partisan hack that doesn't understand how the Bureau of Labor Statistics works. And quite frankly, it's really annoying. It's sad to see, but there's a way to move forward from here. And that way to move forward is to reject propaganda and accept intellectualism.
But you think Trump is really, and you honestly believe this, you think he's doing a horrible job now, not 2016, now compared to the Biden administration?
Yeah, I think that Kamala Harris would have been a significantly better president. I think that Trump is bad for a shit ton of reasons. Main one in my mind right now is the fact that he's a fascist.
And am I wrong about this? Am I spitting propaganda, or is this true? Did she or did she not say she wanted to give money to the immigrants coming over?
Undocumented migrants? Yeah, no, she never said that. In fact, like undocumented migrants don't receive any money.
Then why did they all have credit cards with $5,000 on them?
Well, that's the thing, they didn't. More propaganda, Thomas.
Okay, well then what am I supposed to, where would you suggest I go to get my non-propaganda news? CNN?
Yeah, CNN, MSNBC, me, obviously. No, I'm just kidding. I like Reuters and AP. But I don't even think you got that from the news. I think you just made that one up. Could you give me the news article that shows that undocumented migrants received credit cards with $5K a month on them? You didn't even get that.
Dude, I seen it a year and a half ago on Fox.
No fucking way, dude. I don't even believe that Fox published it.
100%. It was during it was during the summertime. Funny enough, it was during the summertime, and I was 17.
So then give me the article, because I just know that it doesn't exist. I'm sorry, man. Like, Fox, is not a news organization. They're legally classified as an entertainment organization because they lie too much. But that is so big of a lie. They'd get sued to oblivion, probably by like the ACLU, alongside a couple other things. Like, I just completely doubt they even published that. Give me the title of the article.
I don't have the title of the article.
Obviously, you don't. Should I try to find it?
If you
Fox
want, I mean,
News, undocumented migrants receive credit cards. Let's see what it says. Fox News, undocumented migrants receive credit cards. They actually did publish that. What the fuck?
I told you I'm not lying. It could be fake. It could be propaganda. But I've seen it. I'm not lying.
Oh my god. Why did they publish that? Yeah. What federal program did this money come from?
I don't know. A government one, obviously.
God, dude, I had too much faith for Fox. Let's see what happens when we type in undocumented migrants receiving credit cards. Fact check. Debunked. Great. Yeah.
Debunked by who?
Is false.
Debunked by who?
Well, it looks like by USA Today for 1, PolitiFact for 2, Full Fact for 3, Center for Immigration Studies for 4.
That's good enough.
And then Fact Checked AFP for 5. Oh, and
that's good enough.
AP News for 6.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's an invalid claim, sure, but it wasn't a lie. It was something that I did see that was being pushed out.
Yeah, this is why I actually appreciate you for joining. Like, this is good.
Oh, dude, ain't no problem. I don't like. I've heard arguments on here with you, but it don't matter. It's conversation. You know what I mean?
You are like a full-blown like conspiracist, just buying all of like Trump's narrative, but like you actually are being kind of respectful, and like that's just like new. You don't usually see people that are just like knee deep in the conspiracy that can like kind of hold a respectful conversation. So I can appreciate that.
No, ain't no problem, man. I I don't know. All I know is, everything I've seen that Trump's done has, as far as I know, been helpful to our country. Maybe not every
Mm.
other country. To our country, yeah.
Okay, name something else. What has he done that's been helpful?
Uh, yeah. Oh, I know you're gonna hate this one. I think our economy is better than it was under Biden's term.
Just off the raw data right now, you're like wrong. Like measure it by GDP. Went down the first financial quarter of this year.
Oh, no, you're right. No, no,
what like
100%.
macroeconomic data point are you using to say that the economy is better now than it was 3 months ago?
Look, you're right. The economy started off slower because of all these tariffs, but
Right?
that doesn't mean in the long term these tariffs will definitely send America into a golden age. I
Uh,
guarantee it.
well, I mean, actually, yeah. So JP Morgan, for instance, dropped their prediction of a recession this year because Donald Trump dropped the tariffs. So he created an issue,
He,
then he resolved the
yeah,
issue by dropping what created the issue in the first place. So
no,
it's also not going to create a golden age for America because once again he dropped them.
no, other countries, he didn't drop them. Other countries were tariffing us
Right?
25%, 30%. All
Yeah.
he did was hit
Like
them back with an equal tariff. And then that started the tariff war where that country didn't like it. So they knocked up their, like China, for instance. It
mhm.
went up to, this ain't 100%. It was around, I think, 145% increased tariff that China had on America. And so Trump put the same. And uh, I know their storage where they kept everything in China filled to the brim. They couldn't ship anything out to America because
So that's
no one
actually
was
not.
buying them.
So that's actually not true. You said that before Liberation Day, China had an average tariff on us of like 141%. So that's not true. They reached an average tariff of 21%. And then he put
Okay,
the tariffs on them,
of 121 or just 21?
just 21.
China?
Yeah.
No chance, dude. Look that up. Look up China 145% tariff.
That's coming from CSIS. What you're referencing is like the 145% tariff that they put on us in response to Donald Trump's tariffs on them. Like they just both went up and up and up. And
Right?
then yesterday, they both dropped their tariffs by a substantial amount.
Correct. But
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
because China knew
So
they
in other
couldn't
words,
survive without the American economy buying their products.
one of the
So we
reasons, for sure. Like I think that both like Trump and China agreed that if they like have like 200% tariffs on each other, it's going to be bad for both countries. So then they came to like a fair trade agreement. And that means that they went from having an average rate of tariff on us from 21% to now 10%. So like we basically paid 1 quarter of negative financial growth, quickest drops in the stock market since 2008, a huge reduction in consumer confidence in the markets for a 11% reduction in the tariff that China has on us.
it would
Now,
be.
if you'll allow me to finish,
Sorry.
that's obviously like not a bad thing, like the consequence of that. But I just don't think that the means in which Donald Trump had to use to achieve that 11% in reduction of the average tariff that China has imposes on us justified the end result at all. Like okay, like 1 quarter of negative GDP growth for an 11% in a reduction in a tariff that our third largest importer has on us. I don't really see like that is justified. And I definitely don't think that this is going to send us into a golden age. Like what it will probably do is it'll lead to like a very like marginal bump in the amount of soybeans that we export from our farmers. But I don't really see how that's going to be like Americans' golden age. In fact, we actually ended with higher tariffs on them. We're charging them 30% for all of our imports. So it's also going to end in Americans paying more for Chinese products.
After they had been put in tariff. Look, you're saying it's not fair that after we were tariffed by every other country that we put equal tariffs on them. You're saying
Oh,
it's not fair?
you can't say that about every other country. You could say that about like China. Like I actually do think that like the whole like retaliatory tariffs things against China, like did end in like a okay outcome. It just was really expensive. So the cost benefit analysis, like the cons outweigh the pros. But it, they still did have tariffs on us, and we retaliated them, and that inevitably resulted in the consequence of a drop in the average tariff rate that they have on us by 11%. Okay, but as it relates to other countries, that's not true. Like for instance, like Canada doesn't really charge us any tariffs, and we tariff the fuck out of them. Same thing with Mexico. In fact, we actually had a trade agreement with them called the USMCA that Trump negotiated under his Trump first term. So, do you think that his negotiation of the USMCA was bad?
The, What exactly did it do?
It reduced barriers to trade between America, Canada, and Mexico.
No, of course not. Increased trade is good for the country.
Okay, so if the USMCA was bad, why did it was good? Why did Donald Trump place tariffs on them now?
Because they had tariffs on us.
But those were the tariffs negotiated to and agreed to under the USMCA.
Uh, Dude, I don't know. I guess agreements change. You know what I mean? He
So then,
realized
so then
that
you think that the USMCA was bad?
I think it was good up until whatever reason he had for changing it.
Yeah, up until Trump said it wasn't.
Right, but do you know why he said it wasn't? I'm not sure why.
No, nobody fucking knows why. Dude, we don't know why he's doing these tariffs. I'm not gonna lie, we don't. Like first he said he was implementing these tariffs to protect American industries because, if we increase the price of goods produced elsewhere, consumers will be more reliant on American goods. Well, I mean, that goal has completely changed because now I guess the goal is to negotiate better trade agreements that actually reduces tariffs and makes it easier for Americans to buy goods from other countries. He also said it was about a border bill with Canada, even though he rescinded the tariffs on them without getting a border bill from Canada. He said it was about troops from Mexico, even though he rescinded the tariffs on them getting less troops, and Biden got without tariffs. Like we don't know why. He's not like a business genius. He's not playing 6D chess. He's just grifting, manipulating the market, doing whatever he wants when he wants to do it, and then you're just buying it, even if it results in a quarter of negative GDP growth, even if it results in a redistribution of wealth from the poor to the rich. You're kind of just like on board with whatever he does, probably because you've always gotten all of your information and media relating to politics from your parents, who are likely very staunch conservatives and Trump supporters. And whenever you go into your living room, you see Fox News on the TV.
My grandfather watches Fox. Don't talk to my parents about politics. My father is like super reservative, but other than that, no, I don't talk to them much about it. That's besides the point. Trump said that his main goal with these tariffs was to increase American consumership, buying American products, to increase the American economy.
Yeah, that's actually not going to happen. The opposite's going to happen.
And how was that?
Because he's reducing barriers to trade, like with China, for instance.
Like you'd rather go buy a $7 bottle of ketchup than a $3 one?
Thomas, he's like, once again, Donald Trump right now is like letting go of the tariffs if like other countries give us better trade deals.
Correct.
Better trade deals with other countries makes it easier for us to buy their products, and vice versa. So it actually just means that we'll export more goods to other countries and we'll import more goods into our own country,
which is better for the economy.
But we are capitalist. Now you're contradicting yourself.
Well, now I'm fully understanding it.
Thomas,
the way you said it, you're right.
45 seconds ago, you said that the tariffs are good because they protect American industries and they cause more people to buy from American companies compared to companies operating overseas. But now you're saying that the tariffs are great because they cause us to be less reliant on American companies and more reliant on companies overseas. What?
I didn't say that. I said they're great because we're a capitalistic country, and capitalism in this country, no matter what we're buying, producing money in this country helps it. That's its whole thing. It's a capitalistic country.
You're debating yourself right now, Thomas. Like, I don't know what to say. You're debating yourself. Did you or did you not say that the intention of the tariffs were to protect American industries?
Up until you told me otherwise. Correct.
So I literally just corrected you on what Trump is doing. He's doing the opposite of what you originally thought, and then you shifted your mind in real time. This is an example of Trump cultism.
Because I said you're right?
Well, no, because you said that. Let me explain. When you thought Trump was trying to switch, when you thought Trump was trying to direct more Americans to buy from American companies, you said that was the intention of the tariffs, and that meant the tariffs were good because you agree you want to protect American companies.
Correct. That was his original thing. Correct.
But when I informed you that that's actually not what he's doing the opposite of like making it easier for us to buy from non-American companies and making it easier for American companies to sell non-Americans, you're like, okay, well, that's also great. But those two things contradict one another.
Those two things do not contradict each other.
Yeah,
because either way,
it's protectionist policy versus like globalization of trade. Yeah,
so you're telling me either way, right? That's gonna decrease American consumership? No, now they're just gonna go buy that extra ketchup bottle because they can. They're gonna buy everything now if it's all cheap. If our trade is increased,
I just want to clarify because you said that those two things weren't opposed to one another. So protectionism policy is opposed to bettering trade deals to achieve global commerce. as liberalism is opposed to conservatism. Like they're polar opposite political and economic ideologies. It's like saying capitalism versus communism, protectionist policy versus free trade.
In what way? What do you mean?
Because protectionist policy restricts free trade, forces Americans to buy from American producers. Better trade agreements, like negotiating
But that's not
tariffs
what's
down,
happening, though.
opens up more free trade and allows for us to have more reliance outside of American producers.
Right.
So they're antithetical to one another. They contradict one another.
Well, no, they don't contradict one another because
Yes, now
it does.
Wait, explain to me what I'm saying, just to make sure that you get what I'm saying.
You're saying that what you're saying. What I said was Trump was wanting Americans to buy American products.
I want you to like more specifically explain to me what I'm saying about how protectionist policy is opposed to free trade agreements.
I have no clue.
Thank you for being honest. Okay, I'll repeat it.
Oh yeah.
So, implementing tariffs to protect American industries protects American industries by forcing Americans to buy from American producers because goods produced overseas become more expensive.
Right,
and now policy because it's placing an artificial limit and restriction on the market to force people to buy from American companies.
And now that the tariffs are lower in other countries, we can buy from them.
And this is opposed to like the globalization of commerce, better trade agreements, because better trade agreements do what? They reduce those tariffs. So it's easier to get products from overseas. You're lifting the restrictions and you're doing the opposite. You're no longer forcing Americans to buy from American producers. You're actually giving Americans more incentives to buy from producers overseas. So that's why those two things.
But you're making the claim that's a bad thing.
No, I'm making the claim that these two things contradict one another.
The only way I'm saying
I need you to agree or disagree that either these two things do contradict one another or don't contradict one another. Or I'm going to kick you. And I'm not going to kick you because you're bad faith. I'm not going to kick you because you're being dishonest. I'm not even going to kick you because you're being annoying. If I'm going to remove you, it's just because I've re-explained this 10 times and you're not getting it.
No, I get it. I'm saying that I disagree because I believe that even if the tariffs were high in other countries and low on us, that means we can buy American products for lower. Okay, that's great. And now that the tariffs on other countries are lowered and we've come to that trade agreement, it looks like now we can buy from those countries again, which is great. Either way, the result's the same. American capitalism, the economic growth of our country, the goal of Trump.
Okay, I'm going to kick you once again, Thomas, not because you're being bad faith, but just because you're not picking up what I'm putting down.
Okay.
I hope you have. I seriously do hope you have a good rest of your day, though, man. I appreciate you for being one of the more respectful Trump supporters of the day.
That's cool, Dean.
Yeah, man. Probably like one of the first times I've done that. Yeah, I appreciate that guy for being chill. He just simply was not picking up what I was putting down. What's going on, Rico? How old are
you? 62 years old, Dean.
Nice. Do you support Trump?
I do not support Trump. I just liked what you have to say, and I just want to say we have to take advantage of what we have in the administration currently. This is a grift. This is a grift beyond a grift. I mean, you know what's going on there. He's plundering this country for his own personal benefit only. But at the same time, unfortunately, we did need a change from the normal politics. And this is not the extreme change that we needed, but we did need a change. I think we had a problem with it in the past administration. Maybe you disagree with that, but I thought that it was that we were too political in the last administration and less concerned about, for example, the immigration issues we having. I think that's one thing that we definitely needed to address, and we've done a much better job since then. Do you agree with that?
For what specifically?
Immigration.
No, I think that our immigration policy has gone demonstrably worse.
Really? Okay. I'd like to hear your point of view there.
For sure. Because Donald Trump is illegally deporting people, violating their due process, not fixing the root cause.
I agree with that.
Entry into
I'm talking about coming in.
None of those things fix it.
Talking
Yeah,
about coming in.
even about policy about individuals coming in. Less individuals are coming in because they're scared of having their human rights violated. And he's implementing short-term solutions like abandoned on the bullet wound with like deploying troops to the southern border while not fixing the root cause of undocumented migration, meaning that there's no long-term solution present.
Okay, that's a fair comment, but do you not agree that we have a lot less illegal immigrants coming in that
No,
should not be coming in?
I absolutely agree, but I don't think that's good or effective, and I don't care at all because that's not because of like any good reasons. It's because of bad reasons, like scaring them away or implementing short-term border solutions that don't fix anything real.
What would be your border solution?
Yeah, to decrease the amount of time and barriers to entry, legally speaking. The motivation insofar as why individuals seek undocumented entry over documented entry is the fact that the documented means of entry to many migrants are simply unattainable because of how long they take or how expensive they are. The only way to reduce undocumented entry into America in the long term is to simply make the legal means of entry easier. And Donald Trump has never hinted at that being something he wants to do. Donald Trump has never said that's something that he wants to do. He just wants to scare people away by essentially propagating the motive that if they do come in, they'll have their human rights violated. And short-term border solutions that are incredibly expensive, like deploying troops to the southern border to restrict entry physically. Meanwhile, the root problem still persists of slow, depraved, and neglected legal means of entry into America.
All right, that's all fair commentary, but I think, don't you agree that we had a major issue that was not addressed by the previous administration?
Not addressed enough, I'd say. You know, like I think that they could have pushed for the bipartisan border bill harder, but still yet most of the culpability of that bill failing still does fall on the shoulders of Trump. And I think that the Democrats are doing it better than the Republicans, although I actually hold a further left perspective than even the Democrats.
Okay, fair enough. I appreciate you getting that out. I think that's an important subject matter. But other than that, just if I may say one more thing, please, Dean.
I'm sorry, Rico. At this point, I am going to move on to the next guest because you said that you don't really support the Trump administration. I do appreciate you for your chat about immigration, though. DMAC12, what's going on?
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How old are you?
I'm 25.
25. Do you support Trump?
Yes.
7-8, by the way. Why don't you come up on the stream and speak your mind? Phenomenal. Yo, before we hop into our conversation, I need to thank Kristen for the $10 super chat over on YouTube. Thank you so much for the love, Kristen. Annie Tommen with the $20 over on YouTube super chat. Hyped with the 10. I really appreciate each and every single one of y'all so much, as well as Eric with the $30 over on Venmo. Thank you for the love, Eric. Everybody, please show some love to Eric down below in that chat, literally right now. That is ERIC. Thank you so much, Eric. Eric says, keep up the good work. Thank you so much, man. 300 Eric W's, as well as Dean with a $5, Alma with a 5, Jennifer with a 1, and Maria with a 10. Thank you so much for the love, Maria. If you're watching the stream and you do want to support me, you can find my Venmo as well as my PayPal in the link tree in my bio. I get 100% of the proceeds over on those platforms. You get a notification on the top of my phone screen where I could shout you out. I could read off a message, as well as if you're watching on the YouTube is in the pinned comment. We're going to go to get that next guest up here, but real quick, Chris, thank you for the $10 over on PayPal. Thank you so much for the love, Chris. Let's show some love to Chris down below. Welcome in. You definitely support Trump, right?
Trump is the man.
Yeah. Good job. You got it out, buddy. Okay, real quick. How old are you?
21.
21. Phenomenal. Okay, so real quick. You have a very interesting profile picture.
Yes.
Do you know where that flag comes from?
My family.
Okay. So first and foremost, I want to apologize for my first comment, calling you buddy and whatnot. Now, it does not come from your family. That actually comes from the Confederate forces that fought the Union forces, fighting for the legal right to own slaves. It's called the Confederate Rebel Flag. It stands for killing Union troops to fight to own people's property.
Trump is a winner.
Okay, we'll talk about
And I
Trump.
like winners.
Okay, so if you like winners, then you should hate the Confederates because they're losers.
No, it's my family, so it's different.
So is your family a bunch of losers?
We talking about Trump.
No, I want to talk about your
Is he
family
not?
and how good they are at losing.
I'm here to talk about Trump.
So do you like typically like wear your losses on your profile picture? Or you just kind of blast it to the people that, y'all lost?
Can we not talk about Trump?
I really want to address like the glaring problem first of your profile picture. Why don't you want to talk about that? I mean, hey man, it's your profile picture for a reason. Why don't you want to talk about it?
Is it a problem?
Is it a problem? Yeah. The flag was created to defend slavery, to fight and die and kill people to defend slavery. Like, it wasn't even just like the flag of the Confederacy. It was specifically the Confederate rebel flag, which was a flag only flown in war when killing Union troops to defend the right to own slaves. Maybe go ask your family how you should respond to that. Maybe one of them
You
will
little
know.
sissy boy. You a sissy boy.
Ah, good one.
You was a sissy boy.
That was great. Good
Talking
one.
about good one.
That was, you really put some thought into that, man. You did. I mean,
Damn
seriously.
little girl.
Around 35 seconds of thought.
Trump is a man.
He is a man. That is true. So
And you a
why do
bitch.
you think he's the man?
Cause he made America.
He did not make America.
Yes, he did.
So did America not exist when Obama was president?
He made our America.
So how old are you?
I'm 21.
So what country were you born in?
Trump is a man.
No. What country were you born in?
We here to talk about Trump, okay?
I answered my question. What country were you born in?
No comment.
I think that you should let me know. What country were you born in? He left. God damn. Dude. Holy shit. That guy was not smart, dude. Holy shit. We're gonna go ahead and move on. Hunter, what's going on? Do you support Trump? Header's gone. Guys, go ahead and drop a Maga down below in that comment section. We'll get you up here. Mr. J calls me a sissy boy down below in that chat. Jay will obviously not join because he's scared of sissy boys. He's very scared of sissy boys, quite frankly. Quite frankly, he's terrified of sissy boys. That's the truth. That is the truth. That's right. Where are the Trump supporters at? Go ahead and drop a Maga down below. Oh, this guy's name is Bo with a profile picture of a SUV. Well, we need to get Bo up here. Bo, hop in that queue. Jay, you just called me a sissy boy in the chat. That wasn't too nice, Jay.
Oh no,
some civility.
I was just repeating what the homie said. It was kind of funny.
Okay, are you MAGA?
Yes, deep.
So do you like typically consider yourself homies with like Confederates? Is that?
No, it's just a figure of speech. The homie. I don't know his name or who he is. It's just a figure of speech.
All right.
You can understand that, right?
Yeah. Before we hop into a debate, I got to thank Veteran for the $50 super chat over on YouTube. Veteran says, fighting the impossible fight. Veteran, you've been here 3 days in a row. I'm so good to have you in here with us today again. I want to see so much love for Veteran down below in the comment section. Thank you for the $50 donation. Show some love to Veteran right now. Take it away. Why are you MAGA?
Who? Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking to your veteran guy. Yeah, I'm
This Veteran is a true American patriot. He is not MAGA.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank him for his service, man. We appreciate all the good things he did for this great nation. I'm MAGA because I support POTUS and I support any president that wants the well-being of the nation, and that's pretty much it. I kind of support where the direction of where the country's heading.
Okay. So fascism is a direction the country's heading in that you support and that you think is for the well-being of the nation.
I don't see it as fascism. I think I live my everyday life as free as possible, and I don't see fascism on a daily basis whatsoever.
I think that we see fascism in the Trump administration.
Can you give me something that relates to fascism in the Trump administration?
For sure. So there was, I typically use like the 14 defining characteristics of fascism. I think that Trump hits all 14. Should we go over them?
Well, you could give me the main ones that you can point out. We don't need to go deep into all 14, but some that you can relate to.
I mean, sure. Like the 14th tenet of fascism is fraudulent elections. He admitted to trying to rig the election in 2020 when he attempted to steal it from Biden. The 11th is a disdain for intellectuals and the arts. He's appointed individuals into his cabinet, such as RFK, that are not medical professionals. In fact, RFK said earlier today that he's not somebody individuals should be going to medical advice for, even though he's a Secretary of Health. Alongside him, cutting funding to schools, funding to news networks, and wanting to abolish the Federal Department of Education. 10th is labor power suppressed. His tax policies estimated to reduce and suppress the purchasing power of every American grossing under $395,000 per year. That's according to the Institute on Taxation and Economics.
Okay.
7th is obsession with national security. He's so obsessed with national security that he's willing to deport citizens and undocumented migrants illegally. 8th is religion and government intertwined. He ran on putting God back in schools and putting God back into the country.
Okay.
4th is supremacy of the military. Even though we have the largest military expenditure by around $500 billion comparing to the second nation who's closest, he still wants to fund it more. 3 is identification of enemies as a unifying cause. He's identified trans individuals as enemies as a unifying cause. The third largest, category that Republicans spent their money on prior to the election to push propaganda was on trans people, even though they only account for 0.01% of the overall American populace. And he's also identified DEI as an enemy to build a unifying cause. He's identified undocumented migrants as an enemy to build a unifying cause. Point number 2 is disdain for human rights. He straight up said that he does not think that undocumented migrants deserve access to their human right of due process. And even though the Supreme Court has ruled that, well, you can't do that, that's unconstitutional, that's illegal, such as in his deportation of Abrigo Garcia, he says that he doesn't care at all. So, I mean, like, there's a couple tenets of fascism right there.
Yeah, no, those are all really good points that you made. I appreciate you laying them out so nicely, and there are some that I can't agree with you on, and but there are two sides to the coin, and I don't feel like, as an American born and raised here, I don't feel like I live in a fascist society whatsoever.
Okay, well, I gave you the facts. You're giving me your feelings.
Yeah. But the facts are that my everyday life are facts, and I don't see it at all.
So can you contest the facts that I just shared with you? Can you tell me why I'm wrong?
You know what? I can contest some of the facts that when you're saying. So when it comes to the Garcia fellow, I mean, he came into the country illegally. DEI is it's a systematical thing to not to hire people based on gender, race, not qualifications. There are people that are actually more qualified than people that are being hired because of their race or gender. That is a fact that there are more qualified people that happen to be white or that happen to be of European descent, I should say, that are more qualified than a black person or a Latino person or an Asian person or an Indian person. So DEI in itself is not something that's productive necessarily. It's actually counterproductive, because what you're doing is you're taking away opportunity from hardworking white people.
Is your counter argument that white people are more qualified than black people?
No, that's not my counter argument. What I'm saying is that there's people that are more qualified than others but don't get positions because of DEI.
Okay.
He's pushing the point that, like.
Sorry, 1 second, Mark. I put you on mute. I just want to talk to one person at a time. I'm sorry, man. So you're wrong about what DI is. We could have that conversation, but it's not even relevant to the conversation. The reason it's not relevant to the conversation.
I don't want to focus just on DEI, because I see where you're going with that. I think DEI
you don't fucking know where I'm going at all, because you're not letting me speak. Come on.
Yeah, but no, DEI is a great thing. It is a great thing, but is it fair? I don't think it's fair.
Hey,
I don't think it's fair at all.
Jay,
right?
You're wrong about what DI is. Okay, and I can correct you if you'd like me to.
I'd like to,
but it's not even relevant to the reason I said he's using DEI as a unifying cause to shit on people and build an enemy. So the reason I said that is because, for instance, when we had the plane crash in Washington, D.C., He blamed it on DEI. When we had a helicopter go down, guess what? It was DEI. Something's gone wrong with the country, it's DEI's fault. Oh, California, why are their taxes so high? Why is their quality of life so low? Why is their prices so high? It's DEI. So he's essentially like replaced the N-word with DEI, and he's used it to attack and demonize anything that he deems as bad, even when DEI has absolutely nothing to do with a given scenario.
Okay.
So, like, I could correct you on why you're wrong about your conceptions of what DEI even is, but more so my point is just describing that if he sees something he doesn't like, he just calls it DEI.
Yeah, but but we can both agree that DEI was set up to give opportunities to people that who may not be qualified.
That's not true, but once again, like that's
That's
I'm
not
trying to
true,
find
but
a way.
it is
I'm trying to
true,
find a
though,
way
right?
to verbally clarify what I'm saying.
No, but it is
When
true.
something bad, it's not. When something bad happens, he just says it was caused by DEI.
Okay,
And that's the issue that I'm trying to get you to recognize.
yeah, but I can't recognize that because the way I
How was the
understand
plane
DEI
crash in Washington D.C. caused by DEI?
well, maybe the person wasn't qualified for the position and was hired through
Who were
DEI.
they?
I mean, that could be the case.
Oh, it could be the case. So you're saying that there's merely a possible explanation of why he said what he said, but you don't know definitively.
No, I don't know, but I do know that
Oh,
DEI
okay. So in other words, you actually don't know that that was caused by DEI.
Well,
You know, this is like saying, oh, well,
Do
guess
you know
what?
if
Last
it was
night Trump
caused-
murdered somebody.
Do you
Well, it's
know if it
possible
was
that the
caused
person
by
he murdered.
Do you know if it was
Jay.
caused
I'm
by
gonna.
DEI, sir?
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give you an example of the logic you're using to demonstrate why it's wrong. Imagine
sure.
Trump literally murdered somebody last night. Is it possible the person that he murdered was trying to kill his wife?
Possibly.
So therefore, he wasn't wrong in literally murdering somebody.
Possibly. What a
This is
wonderful
logically
example.
equivalent to your position that it's possible that the individual driving the plane was hired by DEI and underqualified. So then there's nothing wrong with him blaming it on DEI. Do you see the issues with your logic there, Jay?
I see the issues, but once again, we're getting
Precisely.
we're getting hyper focused on this. But let's continue on with some of the other things that you mentioned, like for example, lowering tax cuts. And how do you feel about no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and returning more money into hardworking Americans? Do you believe that the Americans deserve that or no?
So I agree with your first 2 points, no tax on tips and no tax on overtimes. I think that's a good idea. However,
That's
your
pretty
third
cool,
point
right?
is demonstrably false of returning more money into the hardworking pockets of Americans. See, the issue with that claim is that it's wrong. My evidence that it's wrong is that the Institute on Taxation and Economics has looked at Donald Trump's economic policy in its grandeur, all of it, and at the end of the day, with the implementation of all of his policy, every American making under $395,000 per year loses purchasing power.
Why is that though?
Why is that? Well, A, because of the regressive impacts of his tariffs. When we charge other countries a higher percentage of a tax on their import, inevitably that's passed on to the American consumer when they're buying goods produced overseas, or even goods produced by American companies with raw materials that are produced overseas. And that disproportionately negatively impacts you the less money you make.
But
my evidence for that is that you spend a greater proportion of your income on the bare necessities to live. And then when you compile that with the fact that his tax policy disproportionately benefits the ultra wealthy, all right, we see that my point is very clear. And that there is legitimate justification insofar as why the Institute on Taxation and Economics makes the claim they do.
Okay, but do you realize that when the American people are saving more on taxes, that's the working class. Let's just say hostess and people that work overtime are more of the working class of America. And now if they're saving more on their overtime, that means more money in their pockets. We could agree on that, right?
As long as you as long as you agree.
No,
the macro impact of all of his economic policies that there's less money in the pockets of the average American.
Yeah, I'm just asking you on this specific.
Yeah, I'll agree with that if you agree that the macro impact of all of his economic policies is less money in the pockets of the average American.
Okay, so now can we both also come to this?
No,
conclusion?
can we come to the terms on that fact I just said, that the macro impact of all of his economic policy is like less money in the pockets of the average American?
Well, we don't know that yet because we haven't seen what the outcome of tariffs are going to be. Because
so we do know that to the highest degree that we can, using predictive models from the Institute on Taxation and Economics, using historical trends alongside principles of economics. Don't act like we don't use projections to dictate the outcome of policy. We all use that, or at least we should, when voting for a candidate or talking about something that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, but we're also talking about the same people who said that these tariffs, that these are the same people that said these tariffs are most certainly going to create higher inflation and also create a recession. And all of those people that said those things, with the recent reports with the tariffs going strong, we had lower inflation at 2.3%, and also we have a surplus in the federal government's budget for the first time.
Okay, so you didn't talk about the recession. I find that funny. Then about inflation,
and the recession,
it makes perfect sense that we'd have lower inflation during the first financial quarter of 2025. Thank you so much for pointing that out. The reason why it would make perfect sense that we'd have lower inflation because of the tariffs in the first quarter of 2025 is because we saw companies stockpiling on their imports before the implementation of the tariffs occurred in April, on April 2nd, which meant that there was a larger supply of these goods. And then guess what? There's a lower demand because consumer confidence was down, so less individuals were spending money. What happens to equilibrium price under those pretenses? Equilibrium price goes down. So actually, it was projected that we'd see a decrease in inflation to begin with.
No, actually,
but that was in fact an indicator of a recession.
That's not the case. No, sir.
Yes, it was. I just explained to you how that was the case. Refute my reasoning.
No, I'm refuting your reasoning because the same.
What is my reasoning?
The same people that you
said.
No,
shut the fuck up. What was my reasoning to justify that point?
Whoa, calm down.
I'll calm down once you give me my reasoning to justify that point.
I'm trying to. You can't tell me to shut the fuck up.
I will, because you were talking about other people, not me.
I'm talking about the same.
Explain my reasoning.
Same people that you are saying.
No, my reasoning had nothing to do with other people. My reasoning was, and I'll repeat because you didn't hear, is that lower inflation was expected in the first quarter of 2025, caused by the threat of tariffs, because it caused American companies to stockpile imports from overseas, so they had a larger supply of their goods, as well as it caused a reduction in consumer confidence, which led to a reduction in consumer spending, meaning there was more goods that the companies could sell and less people that were buying those goods from those companies, meaning equilibrium price went down. Refute that reasoning that explains exactly why lower level of inflation in the first financial quarter of this year was to be expected.
Well, first of all, inflation is also tied to job reports and so many other things. So it's not just that one thing that you're referring to. Okay, so it's so many other things.
But it's that one thing insofar as why the tariffs caused a decrease in inflation.
So we had more jobs created in America.
You're pivoting. Stop pivoting. No, you are pivoting. You are pivoting. No. You are pivoting. Jay, the reason that you're pivoting is because you told me my reasoning was flawed. I gave you my reasoning. Critique it. I told you exactly why the tariffs would have disinflationary impacts the first financial quarter of 2025. You told me I was wrong. Explain to me why I'm wrong. That's all. And for everybody whining in the chat, saying, oh, let him speak, stop interrupting. Yeah, I'm going to interrupt Jay every single time he pivots. Job reports have absolutely nothing to do with the reasons that I gave insofar as why lower levels of inflation were expected given the tariffs in the first financial quarter of 2025. I'm going to hammer that point in. I was dead on with that point. Obviously, the tariffs would have had disinflationary pressures in the first financial quarter of this year for the reasons I indicated. Prove me wrong. Feel free to unmute. But I'm being serious. You told me I was wrong. Stay on topic. Don't pivot. Explain to me exactly why the reasons I gave insofar as why lower levels of inflation were expected given tariffs in the first financial of this year were incorrect. Go ahead and unmute. Click on your profile picture and click the icon of the mic. And keep in mind, a job report had nothing to do with my reasons. If you'd like me to repeat my reasons to make sure that you're responding to what you should be, just feel free to ask.
Hello?
Hi.
Yeah. So if I'm not really well versed on the fact that companies were really well stocked and those types of things. And if that's the case, then that's definitely a deciding factor. If you are correct on that, and I give you kudos on that. If companies were smart enough to stockpile at lower rates and lower prices and have inventory during these tariff times, that was a very smart move by the American companies. That definitely would help with inflation. But also what does help with inflation, we could both agree, is that government spending has been reduced and a lot of government money and a lot of raising capital has come into our country from other countries. As you're pretty well aware that we've raised $9 trillion in the first 100 or so days of the Trump administration back into our country from businesses and countries investing into our nation. They believe that our country is stronger and a better economy than it's ever been. And we've raised $9 trillion in the first 100 days. $9 trillion. And our president currently, as you know, is in the Middle East raising capital as we speak. As we speak, and making trade negotiations and Middle East securities for our military to expand. And all of these things are going to help with inflation because this is trillions of dollars.
Can I correct you on your lies?
Which lie in specific, sir?
Both things you just said were a lie. So you said business investment in American manufacturing industries went up, and you said federal expenditures went down. So you're wrong. So this is according to FRED. Federal expenditures for the last quarter of 2024 in America was $7.109 trillion. In the first financial quarter of 2025, it was $7.145 trillion. So federal expenditure went up. You said it went down. You lied. Now about your claim relating to investment in American industries, which that was also a lie, and you could also find this reference in FRED. Go to Google, type in FRED, investment into American manufacturing, and you'll actually see that the percentage change compared to the last quarter insofar as evaluation of investment into manufacturing was down by 4.9%.
Okay, but is it a lie that $8 trillion has been invested into our nation? I'm not saying specifically manufacturing, but I am saying that Apple is bringing manufacturing back to America. That is a fact. $500 billion was invested. Toyota is opening more manufacturing companies.
And see, now you're shifting the goalposts.
No. Those are manufacturing jobs.
No, but so we'll talk about why you're wrong there too. Like for instance, about the claim of Apple. In the last 2 inaugurations, Apple's announced a $500 billion investment into their American manufacturing, and it has not fruitioned in any of these inaugurations. But the reason I'm saying that you're shifting the goalposts, and the reason why I think that you're like a very slippery weasel at this point, was because your original claim was that federal expenditure went down and investment into American industries went up.
Why do you insult people out of curiosity? Why do you got to call me a slippery weasel?
Exactly. Because the way that you're.
Because I'm not in front of you?
No,
is that why you think you could talk?
It's because of the way that you're shifting your goalposts. Like you made the claim.
No, it's not. We're going into the specifics.
I can make it very, very clear about how you're shifting the goalposts. We could go into the specifics, and I could demonstrate how you're shifting the goalposts.
Okay,
I won't be able to demonstrate it to you. Why are you interrupting me? Do you typically interrupt people when you lose a debate?
Well, no. When you insult me, I'll definitely interrupt you.
So actually, I was just calling the shot as I see it. So the reason
smack you across your mouth.
I know, like men get angry when they're wrong. Men get angry when you're wrong. Yeah, you're so mad that a 20-year-old white boy on TikTok is proving you wrong that you want to catch a charge. I get it. It happens frequently. Yeah. So, anyways, to get back to the claim, you said that investment.
Okay, little kid.
Oh yeah, this little kid is absolutely fucking dunking on you. Do I need to forcefully put the binky into your mouth? Or are you gonna continue to yap?
Gosh, are you mad that I'm giving you real hardcore facts that are actually occurring? Does that upset you?
So I actually think that you have it wrong.
Upset? Does that mean that I'm moving the goalposts when I'm telling you actual things that are happening?
So you're actually not telling me things that are happening.
Yes, I am telling you.
Okay,
can you go on your little Google?
I'm going to mute you for 5 seconds.
Can you go on Google?
Sorry, you're muted. The reason you're muted is because you can't let me speak more than 2 words. You're not telling me the factual information. And you just told me to go on Google. I did. I went to Google. I typed in federal government current expenditures, FRED. Go to the website. Go to Google as you say. What do you see? Last financial quarter of 2024, $7.109 trillion spent by our federal government. First financial quarter of 2025, $7.145 trillion spent by our federal government. You actually, literally, unironically, undeniably were spreading misinformation when you made the claim that our federal expenditure has been cut, according to Google. And the reason I called you a very slippery snake and weasel was because you claimed that investment into American industries has gone up by $9 trillion. You made that claim. I proved you wrong. Investment into American industries in the first financial quarter of 2025 went down by 4.9%. Yeah, according to FRED. So your claim was wrong. The reason I called you a weasel was because then you went on to say, oh, well, what I said is there's just $9 trillion invested. No, you said it went up by 9. It could have been $9 trillion invested in the first financial quarter of 2025. Business investment is never ending. But what matters is that it's down quarterly because of Trump's policy. So that's why you're wrong. That's why you're spreading misinformation. And that's why you're a weasel. And then you're mad because you said that you want to slap me in the face, catch a charge because a 20-year-old on TikTok proved you wrong. I get it.
Charge would be worth it, you slime.
Yeah, I get it. Stay pissed. Stay mad. I get it.
No. The charge would totally be worth it.
Yeah, you're not going to do shit. Stop huffing your chest, little bro. Come on. Just debate me.
Yo, send the Addy, bro, and we'll see.
Yeah, Mason Mall, Junction, Colorado. Meet up any day. I've already done this with like 2 other Trump supporters. It never happens. Jay, just stop huffing your chest.
Bro. I'm not like every other Trump supporter. I'll tell you that.
Okay,
Right?
all right. Anyways, yeah. Okay.
Anyways, let's get back to
no. But anyways, so today is May 14th. What I want you to do right now to demonstrate to everybody watching that you're not just puffing your chest is go on Google, go to United Frontier, SpiritAirlines.com, book a plane ticket for May 21st, which is 1 week from now, to GJT, which is the Grand Junction Regional Airport, and then come back with the receipt and show it to us all.
How about you come to Cali? Why would I go to your shit state?
Yeah, there he backed down. How
about you come to Cali, the beautiful Golden State?
He backed down real quick. You literally asked for my address and I gave it to you, and you backed the fuck down. That's right, little bro.
Yeah, you gave me an airport. Okay, you gave me a fucking airport. That's not.
Yeah, I gave you a place to fly to. Yep.
How brave of you.
How weaselly of you again. Once again.
How brave of you. Oh my god.
I stood on business. Dude ran. So unexpected.
Business. Okay, what you're doing is you're manipulating little things to fit your. What are you sucking on?
My anxiety pen. You freak.
You're the freak. What the fuck are you sucking on, dude?
My anxiety pen, my lavender and caramel.
Oh my gosh, take it easy, bro. You 20-year-old freak.
You're giving me a lot of anxiety right now.
Because you're a weirdo. Chill the fuck out. No one's bothering you.
I mean, hey man, you wanted to touch this weirdo. You wanted to slap me on my cheek.
Oh man, now you're taking this to another level. Okay, no Diddy here, my friend. You're on your own on that plane. Okay.
Well, you're the one that was being very suggestive towards a 20-year-old. How old are you?
Hey, I'm not speaking numbers with you.
How old are you?
You're creepy, bro.
How old are you? How old are you?
I'm not talking numbers with you. You're kind of weird, bro.
No, for real. How old are you?
You're kind of weird, dude. You need to take it easy, okay?
God, weird is like, the politest thing that anybody said to me all day.
Kind of weird. You're over here sucking on thin air, man. Take it easy,
It's not thin air. It's an anxiety pen.
Okay. All right. Well, keep sucking on your anxiety pen, bro.
I will. Thank you so much.
All right. Anyways, so let's get back to President Trump and how well he's doing overseas right now.
God, pivot. Fucking hell. No, address the fact that I called you out for lying about you saying that there was a reduction in federal expenditures. So let's start there.
Well, no, we're still to see because he's still inheriting a Biden administration. Okay, so I mean, like that's still happening. He's only 100 days into his administration, so he's inheriting our previous administration. So maybe if I could circle back next January, and if this is the same case, then I'll give you your roses. I'll be honest. You
understand that you're just giving like a Republican argument insofar as why you're wrong. Like you're still disproving yourself because you did make the claim that federal expenditures went down.
Federal spending has gone down with Doge cuts and all of.
No, it hasn't. Once again, let me be very clear on the numbers. Last quarter of last year, 7.109 trill. First quarter of this year, 7.145 trill. Which number is higher?
The 154 is higher.
So you just admitted it's gone up. Thanks.
Yeah, it has gone up, but can we admit that this?
So it's gone down, but it's gone up. Explain that one to me.
Well, it's going to go down. How about that? How about we put it like that? It's going to go down.
There you go.
It's going to go down. There we go.
Actually not true, but I mean, now you have a claim that isn't just abundantly fucking wrong, that I can't disprove an explicit contradiction with facts from Fred.
We'll see. We'll see with the government shrinking and more people.
Teresa, thank you for the $10 over on them. I do appreciate you for the love. Well, I mean, now I could just disprove this claim with the facts from the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office. They estimate Donald Trump's policy to cost between 10 and 15 trill. Then Elon Musk says they could only cut 1 trill with the use of Doge. That is their goal. So net, it's still going to go up by around 9 to 14 trill. Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll see about all of that. We'll see about all of that. We'll see about all of that.
We'll see.
Yeah. No, we'll definitely see about all of that. But what I can say is that on on a tariff level, I totally agree with everything he's doing. I believe that America should be treated fairly in trade. We've been treated.
Sorry, man, not going to do the tariff conversation with you. I already wasted like 30 minutes of my life just trying to purport the facts from Fred to you about federal expenditure. I'm not going to rot my brain anymore. Thank you for coming up, though. Let's go and get that next guest up in the box. He was awful.
Oh, wow.
Was. Hey, what's going
It's
on,
an
man?
honor,
How are you, man?
Good to meet you, man. Hope you're good.
Yeah, dude. Good to meet you
Wow,
as well. You Maga?
yeah, well, yeah. And I'm not here to try to make you feel stupid or anything like that. I know kind of what your views are, but I just have one question that we'll start with. If
For sure.
Trump
Before you ask your question.
Okay, go ahead.
Before you ask your question, do you mind if I thank a handful of people?
Wait, what was that? Thank a handful of people, you said?
Yeah, just for their donations real quick before you ask your question.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Of course. Thank you so much, man. Teresa, thank you for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat. Teresa says, MAGA are quote unquote worms. Weasels are too smart of an animal. Thank you for the $10, Teresa. Thank you so much. As well as SHN with the $20 Super Chat over on YouTube. Thank you for the love, SHN. SHN says, have you heard about the lady running for IL09 called Cat AB? What do you think of her? So I actually have heard of her, but I don't know any of her views. But it is cool that she's younger. She's like Gen Z. I could appreciate that in Congress, but I don't know what her particular views are. I do think that she's pro-Palestinian, though, which is awesome. Yeah, thank you so much, you guys. I'd also like to thank Brandy for the $30 donation over on Venmo. Thank you for the love, Brandy. Let's get 300 Brandy W's. Brandy says, no tax on OT is actually just a tax credit. Taxes are still taken out of overtime. Thank you for letting me know. Maria with the $10 an hour goes saying, I aspire to your level of idea articulation and patience. It is not fun being patient with these people, but I appreciate it nonetheless, Maria. Thank you so much. As well as, let's see here. REI with a $15 over on Venmo. Let's get 150 REIWs with the crowns. Thank you so much for the love, REI. Show some love to REI. Show some love to Aria. Show some love to SH and then Teresa. I do really appreciate everyone so much. As well as Chris with the $10 over on PayPal. Michaela with a 5. Alma with a 5. Monta with a 10. And Ileana with a 21. Huge shout out to Ileana, Monta, Alma, Michaela, and Chris. And then one big W for Mary with the $25 over on PayPal. Mary says, you are amazing. No, you. Thank you for the love, Mary. You are amazing. Thank you guys so much. If you are watching and you want to support me, support the stream, keep it running for 4 hours a day. You can find my Venmo, my PayPal, and the link tree in my bio and TikTok, as well as in the pinned message over in the YouTube stream. Take it away. Ask your question, Mr. Matt.
Yep, I think you're a good guy, Dean. I think you're misunderstood sometimes. So my question for you is, if Trump is bad for America, then how do you explain how he wants to close the borders and put the American people first over illegal aliens? What are your thoughts on that?
Close the borders and put the American people first over the illegal aliens.
Right.
I mean, I think that mass deportation places like America last.
How so?
Sure. It forcefully removes millions of individuals from our labor force, crippling our manufacturers. It forgoes the taxes that undocumented migrants pay per year, which is $100 billion on the federal, state, and local level. So it reduces federal government income, which they could be spending to make the quality of life better, as well as undocumented migrants pay $300 billion into the American GDP every year, meaning that we'd be forgoing that as well. So overall, mass deportation decreases the quality of life, not only for the undocumented migrants, but also for American citizens.
It's a fair point. So I see your point. It would leave less people with jobs, but wouldn't it open more jobs for American citizens, though, if we got the illegal ones out of here?
No, because it slows GDP growth and it cripples the productivity of the industries. So overall, it actually reduces jobs.
Are you sure it wouldn't create more jobs if we got the illegal aliens out of America, though?
How could reducing the productivity of American industries and slowing GDP growth create more jobs? That is incredibly flawed logic.
Because they're illegally here, right? Okay. So I see your point. Okay, we can agree to disagree on that. How about taxpayers, as yourself, you're an American citizen, so you pay taxes, right? Mm-hmm. To fund said free healthcare, free schooling, food stamps, and all these things that we give these people. What are your thoughts on American tax dollars going towards that, putting them in hotels and things like that? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so there's actually no federal benefits that undocumented migrants receive outside of access to American emergency rooms in all hospitals. Okay. And then when you're talking about like food stamps, they're actually ineligible for food stamps on the federal level. Talking about healthcare, they're ineligible for healthcare on the federal level. Talking about housing, they're ineligible for all housing benefits on the federal level. There's like some state systems, like in California, Medi-Cal, Illinois, something similar. and Colorado types of limited SNAP benefits. But all of these benefits do cost the taxpayer money, yes. However, undocumented migrants pay more in taxes than what these programs cost, at $100 billion per year on the federal, state, and local level, meaning that our relative tax burden would go up if undocumented migrants were deported, as they are net providers into the tax pool when you compare it to what they take away.
Okay. Thank you for answering that question. Now I have another question for you. Do illegal immigrants pay taxes? Because I'm not aware if they do or not.
Yes.
Okay, that's very interesting. How do they pay taxes if they're undocumented?
Yeah, because they could work as an undocumented individual on a W-2 with the use of an ITIN, or through DACA on a work permit.
Was that created by Democrats? I'm genuinely curious. Like an ability to work and pay taxes as an illegal immigrant. Who created that system?
Well, I don't know how long it's been around to work on an ITIN as an undocumented migrant and shit. Maybe that's just what you get through a work permit through DACA. But DACA specifically was created by Obama.
Okay, interesting. Thank you for answering that. And I'll just close with this question here for you. I don't want to take up too much of your time. What are your thoughts on God and Christianity as a religion?
I think that there's a way to practice your faith that can be like instrumental towards your own personal success, as well as the success of those around you that share your faith. However, I think it's a bad idea to take your faith, superimpose it on everybody else, to limit what they can or can't do, and to violate their rights. I think that's incredibly immoral.
Right. It does, and you're correct. And in the Bible, it does say, Jesus was talking to his disciples. He said, listen, if you go to this town and they don't want to hear from you, and you knock on their door and they say, nope, we're good, you're supposed to dust your sandals off and keep it moving. That's according to Jesus. I encourage you to fact check me on that. So if you're experiencing that, yes, you're correct from that standpoint. Do you believe God is real, though, in your opinion?
Do I believe God? I'm agnostic. So, but I like my hyperfixation right now, funny enough, is actually researching the Catholic Church.
Interesting. Catholicism is very interesting. So are you familiar with the purgatory?
Yeah.
Okay. What can you tell me about it? Because I have a question for you.
Well, now we're getting really off topic, so I'll just answer.
Your religion,
yeah,
it's just an interesting topic.
If you don't have a clean enough soul to go to heaven, but it's not dirty enough to go to hell, you get a purgatory where you clean your soul until it's clean enough to go to heaven, essentially.
Yes. Okay, great. So you're educated. So my question for you is, because I'm a Baptist, so I don't practice Catholicism. What are your thoughts on the only book of the Bible? It's called Second Maccabees or something like that. That's the only book that it's ever referred to not being in the actual Bible itself, like the traditional Bible. What are your thoughts on the book, the only book that talks about it not being in the traditional Bible and only in the Catholic Bible? What are your thoughts on that?
So there is not a Catholic Bible, but what you're referencing is Catholic dogma, which is basically apostolic teachings of the church, which in accordance with their faith is the dogma is from St. Peter, apostolic succession of the papacy, as well as certain what was it? The Nicene Council of 325 AD, which they believed they were all kind of inspired by the Holy Spirit, and the revelations in which they came to, insofar as the dogma of the church, were unfathomable and were true and cannot be contested. So they're those are kind of looked at as undeniable, unfathomable dogmas that can't be changed nor contested. So even though it's not in the Bible, it's still true, as it's it was still divinely inspired, just like the text in the Bible. And there's a lot of apocrypha, so that's what they call that. Apocrypha is writings about Christianity that were simply never included in the Bible, and there's a shit ton of apocrypha, like Second Maccabees, alongside the book of Mary, etc. There's a lot, or even the book of Jesus. There's a book of Jesus that's considered apocrypha.
Yeah. There's many of them. Okay, so with that being said, I'm glad you're educated on the subject matter. Do you believe it's a real place? The purgatory.
Well, no, because I'm not even. I'm agnostic on.
Right. But, sorry, you're educated on it, so I thought you'd. Okay. So, what did you grow up Christian, or do you agree with Trump's Christian values, or do you completely disagree with him?
I think that Trump is the least Christian thing that has walked this earth since Satan incarnate. That was hyperbolic, but he's not Christian at all.
Okay, I respect your opinion. Now, I'm sure you're familiar with the rally that Kamala had when two college kids spoke up and said Jesus is king. Are you familiar with this clip? Are you familiar with what I'm talking about?
I am familiar with what you're talking about. She told them that this was not the place for them and to go down to the rally behind the street because they were just like pro-Trump, anti-her protesters wearing MAGA gear, and that comment wasn't related to the faith at all. And in fact, she herself is a Baptist, just like you.
Does she though? Like,
yeah, she is a Baptist.
Okay. Do you believe she's practicing wrong? Do you believe she's practicing Christianity in the wrong way then by telling people?
I think that she's practicing it better than Trump. And the comments once again were not related to the fact that they were pro-Jesus. It was the fact that they're like pro-Trump, anti-Harris.
Well, their quote was "Jesus is King." That was their quote.
But that's not what she responded to.
Oh, she wasn't responding to them when she said, "You guys are at the wrong rally."
No, she was responding to the fact that they're just pro-Trump, anti-her protesters. They'd been there the whole time shouting pro-Trump bullshit.
Okay, fair enough. I'll take that as it is. So, were you upset when Trump won? Were you mad? Were you sad? How were you feeling?
Well, I felt a lot of emotions. I failed to see its relevance, though. I was very upset.
Okay. Well, hey man, I really appreciate your time so much, Dean. I think your presence on Jubilee was great. I think you bring a lot to the table, and I just want to thank you for your time and for being respectful for me, brother.
Well, I appreciate you for the good convo, Matt. It was fun talking about the Catholic Church. I like that. We're gonna move on to the next guest. We got Kev loading up in. What a nice little intermission there. So people in the YouTube chat are saying what a weird caller. Yeah, he was weird because it was like, I just say typical. I don't know. I appreciated his questions. I do like talking about the Catholic faith a lot. I've been doing a lot of research into like the Great Schism, where the Catholic Church split from the Orthodox churches. And actually, I think it's likely that the Orthodox Church is more likely to be true than the Catholic Church. But we're going to get on to the next guest. It's neither here nor there. If you're MAGA, let me know down below in that comment section. I will get you up on the stream, everybody. I will get you loaded up onto the stream, y'all. So do just kind of give us a minute. We are going to get Thomas to load in. He's loading in as we speak. So here we go, everybody. And then also RMA, thank you for the $5 over on YouTube Super Chat. I do really appreciate that, RMA. That's incredibly kind of you. I'd also like to thank Destiny for the $5 on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Destiny. That's incredibly kind. Alongside, anyways, what's going on, Thomas? Do you support Trump?
Yeah, partially.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 17.
All right, well, you got to be at least 18 to be in TikTok Live. I'm sorry, I got to kick you, man, but I do hope you have a good rest of your day. Moving on to the next guest. Here we go. Hey, what's going on? How old are you?
I'm 21.
What year were you born in?
January 26, 2004.
January 2006, 2004. Okay. Do you have a driver's license?
No, but I have a state ID.
You don't need I don't want you to show me your ID. Do you work a job?
No, not right now, but I'm looking for one.
Have you ever worked?
Yes, at Amazon before.
Okay, what's a W-2?
A W-2, it's like the form that you fill out so you can, it's either the taxes or whatever. It's been a while. I don't fully remember all the details.
Nah, I feel like it's unlikely if you just could even tell me it's a form that you fill out and it's involved with taxes. Take it away. Why do you support Trump?
Okay, because, he is better than Kamala.
Okay, why?
1 second. I'm pulling up my notes. Ron tab.
If you're one of the 5.9 thousand people watching, make sure you're double tapping on that phone screen. Let's try to get up to 2 million likes. Then also, if you want to support me, support this stream, keep it running for 4 hours a day, you can find my Venmo, my PayPal, and the link tree in my bio.
Hold it up.
As well as in the pinned message over in the YouTube stream.
So, the thing is, men are better leaders than women.
Okay, let's start there. Why?
I have several reasons for that.
Okay, well, I'm
the first one,
every single one of them. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. And I also got responses back. So, women panic easier than men, and this is true even among cops. Female cops panic more and have been observed unnecessarily escalating conflict in many cases. And just because some men may panic easily or unnecessarily escalate conflict does not mean it happens at the same rate as women do.
So, would you say like a main motivation to panic is stress?
Yes.
Okay, well, females are biologically predispositioned to deal with stress better compared to males. That's a fact.
How so?
Yeah, they have thicker dendrites in the context of their neuroanatomy. You can find many resources and publications on this subject on PubMed. The evolutionary purpose of this development of sexual dimorphism, comparing females to males, was because of childbirth.
So, the reason I don't actually agree with that, and I find issues with that, and I'll look that up later, because since you're streaming, I'll be able to look up what you're specifically talking about, is the fact that women break easier due to stressful situations. They develop depression and PTSD easier to the same situations as men do, showing that they actually have a weaker response to these things, and they break down due to stress easier than men do. And just because you have a thicker part of your brain does not mean that you have a stronger strength.
So it's an undeniable fact that females are biologically predisposed to deal better with stress. You're not going to be able to contest that unless like you were to provide like an alternative study like from like PubMed or whatnot. Now about like the development of like depression and whatnot. Like the self-unaliving rate amongst men is infinitesimally higher than it is amongst women. 72% is all self-unalivings are by men, not by women.
79%.
And one of the reasons, 79, there you go. One of the reasons this is the case is because women are more likely to go to therapy and maturely process, manage, and deal with the expression of their emotions compared to men who, when they have their emotions, are less likely to take the next logical steps and recourse of action to deal with them in a mature, proper, logical manner, which, if anything, is one reason why we might be able to indicate a generalization that women are better at leading than men, but hey, they're not going to be the one that does that.
So, on the whole suicide thing, while women do make more,
so say self-unaliving. Say self-unaliving.
Oh, sorry.
And don't even say that. And when you say SH.
Okay, sorry, yeah. So, while women do make more
second. A lot of people in the chat are saying it's good. I have a question. Are you a man or a woman?
I am a woman.
Thank you. Go ahead. This is not a little boy chat. This is a grown woman.
Yeah. I know I do have a very high voice. That sounds very young. But so while women make more SH or para S gestures, they do not actually make more serious suicide attempts. And I'll get down into the suicide attempts and some of the reasons why in a moment. So
you gotta say self-unaliving. I'm seriously, I'm gonna have to kick you.
Oh, sorry.
Because when you say that word, it gets a live flagged. It doesn't push out onto the For You page. It takes it down.
Sorry. Unalived, yeah. So the reason why is due to for example, DV. Richard L. Davis actually did research on that, and he found that men unalive themselves way more when you count both unaliving by partners or by self due to DV. And also there's other reasons such as partner breakdown or whatever. And I would not say that's necessarily an emotional response or whatever. That's more of just dealing with how life does. And women get more help and stuff, so it's more of
yeah, so you just told us that the reason like men have higher rates of self-unaliving is because women get more help. Yeah, yes. What this demonstrates is that women are better at processing, managing, and controlling hard emotions, which indicates what I said to be true and what you said to be false.
No, that's not what it means.
That is what it means.
No, that means people care about women more.
No, actually, regardless of the way in which we measure, inside of the medical field, women get worse service than men.
That's false.
Every single time, yes. Medical sexism as well as medical racism exist. And it is the case that when you're struggling with something like depression, okay, you have to seek out the help. You're the one that has to decide that you want to have to go to a therapist. And you have to be willing to accept the help as well, okay? So now, what you said was false about how women get more help. That is false, okay? Medical sexism does exist. However, you have to seek that help out, and you have to be willing to accept that help. And I'll even indicate to you more evidence to you what I'm saying is true. Enzo, thank you so much for the galaxy. If what you're saying was true, that people are just more helpful to women, well, then we wouldn't expect there to be any underlying reasons why women are more likely to get help, apart from the fact that they're more willing to be granted help. But there's underlying reasons why we'd expect women to be more likely to go and get help, which is the fact that they have a higher EQ score on average, meaning they're literally better at managing and processing and controlling their emotions with use of mature mechanisms comparing to that of men.
Okay, so on the first off, EQ is fake. It is not actually quantifiable.
So EQ is fake. It's not quantifiable. It means nothing.
In the same way as IQ.
So then there's absolutely no statistic, fact, generalization, or stat you'd be able to provide to me to quantify that you think men are better at leading than women if you reject the validity of EQ? So you're using pseudoscientific lines of reasonings to justify that men are better at leading than women, and I'm disputing them and I'm disproving them. But then as soon as we start talking about like semi-scientific lines of reasoning, such as the prevalence of EQ and the relevance it may serve, now I'm not going to tell you that it's 100% accurate, but it's definitely more of an accurate indicator than like the pseudoscientific lines of reasonings and theories that you're granting.
Well, I would say that actually IQ is a better indicator of being a good leader, and IQ and EQ are inversely related.
So IQ and EQ have different indicators, and actually, no, they're not inversely related. Women have both a higher IQ and EQ on average compared to that of men.
Men have 4 points higher IQ on average, which is a non-significant difference, but men still have 4 IQ points higher. And it was a study by a woman. I don't remember her name, but she did it across cultures, and it held up true across cultures.
Okay,
and also
I'd love for you to show me the study.
Yeah, I can find it. Let me see if I can find it right now. But on the other thing,
well, I think we need to pause there. I think that you should show me that study.
Let me grab it real quick.
There's a positive correlation between IQ and performance inside of schools. Who performs better in schools? Women. Yeah,
actually,
man.
men who have higher IQs tend to actually drop out more in school.
With higher IQs, but you're not talking for the average or a generalization. You're talking for more like specific like IQ ranges, and that's not just going to be true of men. That's also going to be true of women. Thank you so much for the galaxy.
So the study, I found it, or at least something referencing it, is by Richard Lynn.
So much for the galaxy. Oh, this isn't a woman.
Gender differences in intelligence and brain size, a paradox resolved. The mean for males is 4 IQ points higher than the mean for females. It's on Science Direct if you're looking for the link that I'm looking at right now.
No. I know exactly who Richard Lynn is.
Yeah.
But you told me that you had a woman write something.
Well, no, the original study was by a woman. I remember the first time I read about it, it was saying specifically she.
Are you referencing that study where the guy got men that he believed to be tall and then women he believed to be beautiful, and then took the average IQ of the men compared to women and said because his selection of tall men had a higher IQ on average than his selection of beautiful women, therefore men had a higher IQ than women?
No, that's not it at all.
Okay, so then what is?
I can't find it at the moment, but if I find it, I'll be able to share it later.
Oh, well, actually, Richard Lynn reports that it's been reported by Ankney and Rushton that males have larger average brain sizes than females, even when allowance for body size. It is known that brain size is associated with intelligence. It would therefore be expected that males would have higher intelligence than females because they have larger brains on average. Question, who has larger brains, humpback whales or males?
Humpback whale.
Who's more intelligent?
The male.
Yeah.
Because, no, the reason why, there is a secondary reason for why men's brains are bigger.
Did you know that men also have more
bigger.
Gray matter in their brains? Empty space?
It's been a while since I've looked at gray matter versus white matter. Let me take a look again what it is.
Mm-hmm. So, like, not only is there a correlation between the size of your brain and your intelligence level, that was just like a myth that was upheld in the 70s through 90s. By the way, this paper from Richard Lynn that you're talking about was made in the 90s, actually 92, but it's not even true. You just indicated to us that it wasn't true by informing us that men are smarter than humpback whales, even though humpback whales have larger brains. And I was giving you more reason to believe that it's false. It's because they have more gray matter and less dense neurons, man. This is why we see women outperforming men in the context of school alongside other things.
Actually, I have a good response to that. It's because people, because I just talked to Hannah Wallen, she actually explained the reason why girls do better in schools. In fact, girls and boys both do worse than they used to. And it's because of the hands-on experience. It is more detrimental to boys to lose that hands-on experience. Well, for girls, it's less detrimental, and girls tend to do better from repeated learning over and over again. Also, the reason why men have bigger brains, there's 2 reasons. First off, men are bigger,
explain the point about school. What did you say? Hands-on experience?
I can't remember the exact word, but it's basically like hands-on experience and stuff. It's like learning, like, it's where you can't learn it from somebody else, you learn it from observing, and then you do it yourself. Like whistling, she said.
Um, I
might be saying the wrong name.
I don't even know like what you're saying. By the way, why is your Twitter handle Nazi?
Nazi?
Yeah.
It's not Nazi.
According to people in the chat. Okay, somebody in the chat had said that your Twitter handle was a Nazi.
I'm pretty sure it's taken by somebody else. I don't know. I haven't looked.
Oh,
but no, I put
you repost Nazi content on Twitter.
No, I made a meme and that was it.
What is this meme?
It was a war meme.
What was it?
It was a war saying like, "Are you ready for war?" and stuff, and it had like it was either funk or dubstep, I don't know, in the background.
And it's just like a Nazi in it.
Yeah.
You know that you know I've never. So you're a Nazi self-hating woman. Is that an adequate evaluation of like of like this conversation? You're reposting Nazi content on Twitter, shitting on women.
I made a singular meme.
Are you like a groiper?
No, I'm not a groiper.
How do you feel? You like the groipers?
Yeah, because they actually so my ex was like stalking me on Twitter and stuff and harassing me, and they actually told him to stop.
So you do know that groipers are neo-Nazis, right?
A couple of them, yeah.
No, not a couple of them. That is what the Groiper movement is founded on. Do you know who founded the Groiper movement?
Nick Fuentes.
Spot on. Is Nick Fuentes a neo-Nazi?
I've only watched one or two of his videos, so I can't speak on him.
I can. He told me that he'd rather Hitler be the president of America than any woman. He told me that.
Yeah, and I don't think women should be leaders.
Would you prefer Hitler to be the president compared to any woman? Just like Nick Fuentes?
I have not researched the topic enough, but I don't speak on things I don't know about.
What do you mean? You're currently agnostic on if any woman would be a better leader than Hitler. You're currently agnostic there?
I don't speak on things I haven't researched.
But I just want to clarify that you're agnostic that any woman could lead America into a better direction than Hitler. Like you just don't know.
I haven't researched his methods, so what do you want me to say?
You haven't researched his methods? Girl, where were you? 3rd grade, the Holocaust. Hello?
Can we go back to the points?
No?
Anyway.
Not anyway.
I don't speak on things
What
I
are
don't
your
know.
thoughts on the Holocaust?
People died?
How many?
I can't remember how many total died, I don't know.
Would a fair observation be that 12.6 million individuals were systemically slaughtered and genocided by Hitler in the Holocaust?
I know 100 million men died in the war. I know that for a fact.
100 million individuals did die as a result of him starting the World War. Yeah.
In fighting each other, yes.
Actually,
and they
no.
were all men. Or at least 99.9999% men.
Did the Nazis declare war on Spain? Actually, no, they remained.
I don't remember that.
Did the Nazis declare war on France?
I haven't researched the war.
Did the Nazis declare war and ethnically cleanse Poland? Yeah, what about the USSR? Did the Nazis declare war in the USSR?
I haven't researched that either.
What about the UK?
You want me to speak on things I don't know about?
What about Portugal? Yeah. What about America?
Can we get back to the topic at hand?
So the Nazis started World War II. Thoughts?
I believe so.
And the Nazis did the Holocaust. Thoughts?
They taught that in schools, yes.
They taught that in schools. Do you think the schools are right?
Not always.
Are the schools right about this?
I need to research more.
Oh, you need to research more. So you don't know if the schools are right about this.
I try to research everything.
Did you know that there's actually not a better researched topic in history than the Holocaust?
Can we go back to the topic at hand, please?
I mean, if you could concede that there's not a single event that has ever occurred at any point in global history that has been better researched than the Holocaust?
I would say it's the most researched thing, yes.
Okay. I'm also looking at
you.
So you're kind of popular in like those Groyper circles on Twitter. I'm sure
some of them follow me, yes. Some Jews also follow me.
I'm actually like not gonna allow you to talk about Jewish people. I'm not even joking. If you say anything about Jewish people, I'm gonna kick you. Like I'm not even joking.
I wasn't planning to.
I'm not even joking. If you say the word Jew, if you say the word Jewish, if you say it, I'm gonna kick you from the street. I'm being so serious, by the way. But anyways, looking at the Twitter feed, you know which side I'm on, and it's a picture of Shiloh Hendricks. So you're on the side of the white woman that called a 5-year-old little boy that was black the hard R.
He was 8 to 9.
Oh, 8 to 9. How much better? Let me guess. You think he was 8 to 9 because of the average height of an 8 to 9-year-old compared to the height of the guardrail next to him and the picture of him on the equipment?
No, according to other children.
Oh, no. You're just referencing a Nazi post. But he was 9. He wasn't 5, guys. So let me get this straight. It's morally abominable to call a 5-year-old little boy that's black the hard R, but you support it when people call 9-year-old boys that are black the hard R. So at what age does it become wrong to hate crime black children?
What?
At what age does it become wrong to hate crime black children?
Why are we even asking this?
Yeah, because you said that you support Shiloh Hendricks. Okay, then I was like, so
but that's not
you
about
support
her right now.
like throwing slurs, throwing the hard R at 5-year-old black children, and then you're like, oh, Dean, he wasn't 5, he was 9. So that implies that you're not okay with calling 5-year-old black children that hard R, but you do support calling 9-year-old children.
We can discuss that next if you would like, but I'd like to finish
Do you think that you're calling? Do you think you're calling the shots here?
I thought we were discussing that though.
No, you're actually not calling the shots at all. So I'm calling the shots, and I think I want you to explain to us why you support a white woman hate criming, calling a 4 or 5 or 9-year-old, as you said, the hard R.
If any child was going through and coming towards a smaller child and stealing stuff out of a bag, I don't care what they call that child, to be honest. It doesn't matter the race.
You're fucking racist as hell. You know what? That is so crazy to me. You actually believe that? I'm sorry.
If it was a white kid doing that, I'd be okay with that.
The reason I'm like smiling right now is because I can't even fathom. You think it's okay to call autistic black children the hard R? That's like, wow.
I myself am multiracial.
You don't get the right to speak. Come on. You don't get you can't just say that then expect a public fucking mic. Oh my God. Moving on to the next guest. By the way, there's a lot of people like her. I just want to make that clear. So you guys like understand the motivation why I do what I do, why others do what they do. There's a lot of people just like her. You know, like her tweets, for instance, the one where she said that she was supporting Shiloh Hendricks, 6,000 likes. I get that many likes on some of my posts. Think about that. That's like similar to like my lower average level of engagement on Twitter. And it's her saying that she supports calling an autistic black child the hard R. There's a lot of people out there. That think that. It's horrifying. Y'all. What is going on, Rosie? How old are you?
Hi, I'm 67, Ohio born, and I did vote for Harris, but I just want to tell you that you're wonderful. I love you. You guys have taught me as an elderly person so much over these years, and you're awesome.
That is incredibly kind of you, Rosie. I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Shout out to Rosie, dude. Shout out to Rosie. What a good. Yeah, the audience has been restricted. Yeah, we got a restriction on the live because of the Nazi. Got a restriction on the live because of the Nazi. Oh fuck. Fuck you, Nazi. Yo, Shin, thank you for the $50 super chat over on YouTube. I want to see 500 Shin W's. Thank you so much, Shin. Shin says kicker. Oh, she's gone. She's gone. She's gone. Show some love to Shin down below in that chat, literally right now. Show some love to Shin. Slime, thank you for the $5 over on YouTube super chat, saying, Dean, you were told very early in the conversation that she posted Nazi edits and symbols. I'm disgusted with how long you kept her up. I probably made her the most uncomfortable she's been in like the last 3 years. Thank you for the $5 over on YouTube. Slime, thank you for the $5 as well. Downfall, thank you for the $20 over on YouTube super chat. Thank you so much for the love, Downfall. That is so incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much for the love. It's incredibly kind. Please show some love to Downfall down below in that chat. Hey, Dean, this is really off topic, but I have ADHD and recently got fixated on everything coffee. I absolutely love the glass that you're usually drinking from, and I was wondering if you could share where you got it from. Yeah, Downfall. So those are like Irish mugs. I got them from Home Goods. I'm sure that you could find them online. Just search up like Irish mugs. And like simultaneously, I don't think it's a good thing to forget that people like that exist. Like, what is everyone's takeaway from that conversation? Everyone, like, I'd assume that like everybody's takeaway is that, holy fucking shit, there are so many people alive today that are just like the people that killed 12 million people in the Holocaust, that are just like the people that systemically enslaved, slaughtered, and raped Africans during American slavery, and they are alive today. And there's a lot of them. I think it's important to remember that. Also, interesting that your first response is to get mad at me, not the Yahtzee. Jesus Christ. But we did kick her, nonetheless. And if there is individuals out there that think I had her up on the platform for too long, my apologies. What's going on?
Hey, I just wanted to kind of touch on what that girl, like an opposite of what that girl was. I grew up with a very, very racist father, and all of his side of the family. And it's very much so a real thing. And sorry, it's very much so a real thing. And to grow up with it and go, the opposite direction. Like, I was disowned by my father because I married a black man and had children. Like, it's such a crazy thing, and it's very real. But there's also people that will sit here and claim that racism isn't a thing anymore. It ended with the Civil War and all these things. Like, it's insane.
Hey, well, I appreciate you for coming up and sharing that. We are just looking for people to debate, but I agree. I couldn't agree more. It is absolutely fucking insane. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Of course. Take care. Take care. And then, like, another thing. Oh, geez. That was really wrong of me to put pressure on the Nazi. So we should let them exist pressureless? We should let them be comfortable? All right, we're going to move on to the next guest. What's going on, Mr. H? How old are you?
Dean, what's up, man? 27. Do
you support Trump?
I do. I voted for him 2 times.
Okay, all right. Phenomenal. Before we get into our conversation, Nico, thank you for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat, saying, see how he never sees my donations. Nico, I saw that one. Let's get 1,000 Nico W's because I'm going to guess that means I've missed a couple. I'm sorry. Wait, Nico with another $10 10 minutes ago saying, Dean, do you see my donations? Now I do. Yo, CHI, thank you for the $20 over on YouTube Super Chat. Thank you for the love, CHI. Saying I'm winning my favorite game right now, so I gotta hurry but take this. Yo, CHI, thank you for the $20 and I hope that you won. Let's go. W. Let's see if there's anybody else. Real quick. Lisa, thank you for the $25 over on Venmo. Let's get 250 Lisa W's down below literally right now. Thank you so much for the love, Lisa. Everybody, please show some love to Lisa down below. Huge Lisa W's. As well as Philip for the $20 over on Venmo. Shout out to Philip. 200 Philip W's. Philip says, I think that we were all speechless. I would really have loved to hear how she developed that thinking. It's not natural or normal. I mean, I think like the way that that thinking is developed is just by existing in like these echo chambers, but probably having like you're really not good at like socializing. People have probably been mean to you in your life. And you really don't have anywhere to turn to except for, you know, like, I guess Nazis. But the more I say that out loud, the more I don't even know if that's how it works. I have no clue, Philip. I tried to give you an example, but I don't think it worked. I can't. I have no clue why. Echo, thank you for the $5 over on Venmo. Appreciate you so much for the love. It's incredibly kind. James for the $10 as well. I appreciate you so much for the love, James. All right, we're going to go get that next guest up here. Next guest is loaded in, guys. Everyone just give us a minute. Where are they at? Where are the Trump supporters? Where are they at, guys? Go ahead and drop a MAGA down below in that chat right now if you want to come up here and debate. Still just looking for the next guest, y'all. MAGA. All right, we're going to try to get Maz up in here. We got Maz loading in. Hey, what's going on, Maz? Do you support Trump? Okay, Maz isn't even here. Where are they at? We're going to try to get Drizzle up in the live, y'all. Next guest is loading in. Tobias, thank you so much for the $10 over on Venmo. Everyone, shout out to Tobias. Tobias says, hi, Dean. As a Jewish individual, I wanted to give my support. Never apologize for embarrassing Nazis. Metaphorically, if we give hatred a finish line, we let them win. We can never stop talking about it. You know, I do agree that it is important that people know that like that's bad and that it still exists. Thank you for the $10. What's going on, Drizzle? Do you support Trump?
No, I don't support Trump. I just wanted to say you're a fucking
What is going on? Dean checked my text. Okay, I'll check my text. I guess, do we have a Nazi in the Discord? Oh my god, I'm not. Got a fucking Nazi in the Discord. There's a Nazi in the chat. What is it? Do we know they're at? Spam her at in the chat. And I'll just ban her. I have my hand on my mouse. You find who she is. I'll ban her. Just at her. Literally at her. We don't know her at. You find her at. I'll ban her. I might as well ban her. What is going on, Amaya? Do you support Trump?
No, I do not. Oh my gosh, I did not expect to get up.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry for kicking you, Maya. You sounded like, once again, an incredibly nice person, but we are just looking for some debates. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Maya. Kaylee, thank you for the galaxy. I appreciate that. What's up, Luke? How old are you?
I'm 18.
Do you support Trump?
Yep.
God, why would you ever do such a terrible thing?
Mainly Department of Education.
What? He can't even... wait. Even like Fox News says he can't get rid of it.
Well, I would...
So you support him for something he can't do?
I'm in support of him dissolving it, or at least making an attempt to.
Well, he can't. Like, even Fox News would report that would require majority consensus amongst Congress, and that's not going to happen. Like, Fox News says it won't happen.
Okay, well then I'll be the negative. What do you want to talk about?
Why you support Trump?
Okay, well, I'd say the next thing would be a social issue on transgender people playing in, or transgender women competing in women's sport. My bad.
We cannot talk about that on TikTok. It'll ban me.
You debated. I know for a fact you can. You and Parker debated Hayden on that.
So this was months and months ago before they got really strict with their TOS. In like the last 3, 4, or 5 months, TikTok has gotten incredibly strict with their TRS. You can't have a conversation about trans individuals on TikTok anymore. You will just get banned for hate speech. But I mean, I don't understand why that would be the largest reason you'd vote for a fascist. Donald Trump has been accused of raping more women than there is women playing in women's sports. So fascism's okay as long as 12 people can't.
No one on the right believes that, Dean.
Wait. What I said was true.
Okay, well, give me one instance of him actually.
Wait. Why don't you believe?
A woman?
Sure, E. Jean Carroll.
Which one was that?
Oh yeah, I don't know. The lady that took him to court and convinced the unanimous jury of.
Oh yeah, that was a show trial. That was a show trial by Biden to try and get him kicked out.
By Biden to get him kicked out. Okay, so you're a conspiracy theorist, right? You believe in things without any evidence? Is that your thing?
Where's the actual evidence that he raped her?
The evidence in the court case that convinced the unanimous jury of 9, but I want you to respond to what I said. You said it was a show trial to get Trump kicked out and it was orchestrated by Biden. Why do you believe this crazy theory?
Everyone voted Dem. In that jury, everyone voted Dem.
How do you know that?
I'm pretty sure it came out somewhere that I'm very skeptical about that trial.
So what's your evidence that everybody in the jury voted blue?
I'm pretty sure Kirk and Shapiro talked about it before.
Okay, so show me it. Once again, you make up your own evidence.
I just said Kirk and Shapiro have spoken on it before.
Jesus Christ, yeah. Oh my God, this Republican who's honestly dumb as fuck and is wrong a lot said it was true, therefore it must be true. Why don't you just say that it was a show trial because Trump said it was a show trial? Like that's essentially like the reduction of your reasoning. Like think about it. Like if we could just like source people in politics that we like to use a standard of evidence. Like why don't you just go like full mask off and use Trump himself as
okay, well then let me ask you this then, Dean. I forget the name of the officer who allegedly killed George Floyd. Was that a show trial?
Derek Chauvin was his name, and no, that was not a show trial. He's a murderer. I don't understand what Derek Chauvin has to do with E. Jean Carroll.
Okay. Well, then I would say both of them are show trials.
I mean, obviously, a racist Trump supporter would say that. What's new? Wait, I just want to clarify. Wait, your argument for Trump not graping Eugene Carroll is that Derek Chauvin is also innocent. What kind of logic is
They're
this?
both show.
Wait, this only like makes it now. Okay, now instead of proving that one court was a show trial, what? Now you have to prove that 2 courts are a show trial?
I can very easily prove Derek Chauvin's court was a show trial.
Oh, so you want to pivot to Derek? Shut the hell up and prove to me that Eugene Carroll is a liar and Trump is innocent. Where's your reason?
Where's her evidence?
Fuck, the evidence that was submitted to court. You obviously haven't read it. Let me ask you a question. The only way that could have been a show trial is if the jury ruled that Trump was guilty without enough evidence that he was guilty, right?
Okay, and what was her evidence?
And Luke, one second. And well, actually, I'm demonstrating that it's your burden to know it. Ready? So you do believe that the jury ruled Trump was guilty without enough evidence, right?
Yeah, I would say largely so.
Okay, and like, do you typically accept the outcomes of courts? Like, typically, if a court makes a ruling, you accept it without like looking into the court at all, right?
For the most part, yeah.
Okay, so then this is a special atypical circumstance where you would have the burden of proof to demonstrate that they ruled he was guilty without sufficient evidence. So this must mean that if you were an intellectual man, you looked into the court documents, you read the evidence, and you could demonstrate to me how it wasn't enough. So name one piece of evidence the jury used to find him guilty. And don't hit this back with, oh, can you name one? No, it's your burden of proof.
Well, I would say that there is all they know about that lady, because I'm not good with names. I just need to preference that I'm not good with names. Is that they only know that he was allegedly raped her in a hardware store with
already fucking wrong. It's not alleged because it was proven in court, and it wasn't a hardware store. It was a retail store. Already off. Like you said one sentence, and you were wrong twice.
That he raped her. I'm just going to use your language. That he raped her in a retail store.
Say graped.
Graped. He raped her in a retail store at, what was it, 2 p.m., but they don't have a date, they don't have a time, they don't have a year. Okay, they have a time. I would be contradicting myself if I said that. But they don't have a date.
Oh, it happened at 2 p.m., but they don't have a time.
No, I just said I contradicted myself if I said that.
So
it's 2 p.m.
Wait. Out of curiosity, if you could like contradict yourself within the same breath when you're talking about the supposed facts of this occurring, well, facts can't contradict one another. So your source.
No, I know. I made a mistake. I made a mistake while speaking. I literally just admitted that.
But let me get this straight. Like, where's this information coming from? Because seemingly it's not like it's coming from your own mind, right?
It's coming from what I hear online and what I hear. Like, it's not, bro. It's not like I just listened to Kirk and Shapiro. I've heard other people say this before.
Okay, so other people have said he's innocent, therefore he's innocent. Have people said, people said the Earth is flat?
Yeah, but I don't even bother talking in that because it's stupid.
Because they have no evidence. In fact, the evidence would indicate the contrary.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, just like you have no evidence that he's innocent. In fact, the available evidence indicates the contrary. That's why the unanimous jury, picked in part by Trump's very expensive lawyers, disagreed with you. So I would really recommend like doing at least a little bit of research into these things before you talk about them. Like if you're going to make the claim that you typically accept the rulings of courts, but you atypically reject this one because you think they ruled without enough evidence, that means that you should probably know the evidence that they ruled on. Can you name a single piece of evidence that they ruled on? I want you to answer the question. Can you name a single piece of evidence that they ruled on?
No, I can't.
So then how the fuck do you know that they ruled without enough evidence? Like this is like me saying that all the food in your fridge is spoiled. I don't know you, I don't know where you live, and I've never opened your fridge. It's like me saying all your shoes are very ugly, even though I've never been in your closet. This is like me saying that your water has a little bit of a lead taste to it, but I don't know where your water's supplied from, and I've never had a drink. You know, it's just like making assumptions about something that you, in all reality, lack the necessary information to draw conclusions about.
Okay, fine. Then let's shift away from that because I'm not going to be able to beat you in this one and talk about Derek Chauvin then because you said I need to be able to prove both of them. I can definitely prove Derek Chauvin.
I'm not going to talk to you about Derek Chauvin.
Okay, then what else?
The topic of the live, why you support Trump.
Yeah, because I think Trump would be able to pardon Derek Chauvin. He should, at least I think. I think Trump would actually pardon Derek Chauvin.
So you voted for fascism, hoping that this guy may in the future pardon a dirty cop that killed an innocent.
He did not kill George Floyd. George Floyd mostly died of an overdose.
Okay, so let me just get this one straight. You voted for fascists, okay? Whose economic policy is going to redistribute wealth from the poor to the rich because you like a racist guy. One singular racist guy that Trump has never indicated that he would pardon. That's your position?
Why would a minority like myself vote for Trump if I actually truly thought he was a racist? Fucking hell.
Because you don't fucking think he's a racist.
Why the hell would a gay guy like me vote for him if I thought he was homophobic?
Because you don't think he's homophobic?
No, I don't. Not in the slightest.
Oh, yeah, even though he called all black people lazy in the 90s, even though he denied housing opportunities to black individuals in 1973, even though he said Obama was born in Kenya, even though he has a birth certificate from Hawaii, just to get people to not vote for Obama, literally saying that this black man shouldn't have a job because he's a black man, even though he called for the death penalty for the exonerated Central Park Five 10 years after they were exonerated, and then failed to repeal that statement on the debate stage with Hillary in 2015. You just kind of ignore that all.
Yeah, I didn't. I was 14 when that crap happened.
Jesus, so was I. So was I. You can't even use that as an excuse. So the fuck was I. I was younger than 14. I'm 20. How old was I in 2015? It was 10 years ago. I was 10.
I was like, okay, then I would have been like 8. I don't know. I was doing the stupid quick math in my head. But why? What has he done in office, specifically in office, to be racist or homophobic?
Well, I mean, sure. His economic policy disproportionately disenfranchises and harms black Americans, as black Americans have a lower socioeconomic standing on average compared to white Americans because of systemic racism, slavery, and its aftermath. So it only emboldens the systems of oppression that already exist and disproportionately makes life harder for black individuals, as well as his attack on DEI, labeling anything that he doesn't like as DEI. Oh, a plane crash? Guess what? DEI. Oh, taxes too high in California? Must be DEI. Okay, the new N-word for bigots, quite frankly. That's the truth. And the fact that he's fast-tracked the white refugees from South Africa. Why would he fast-track the white refugees from South Africa? What about the refugees coming from Ukraine or Palestine or the Congo or Yemen? But no, let's make sure that we fast-track the white refugees.
Well, you want to? Okay, I don't mind talking. Let's talk about DEI, man. You brought in DEI. Let's talk about DEI.
I was using that as an example of why he's racist. You're first going to respond to my claims about his racism. Or like defunding HBCUs. So he cut the funding to HBCUs and then made it permanent. It took Biden to come back into the picture and bump the funding to give them in 4 years what would have taken 50 under Trump's policy. So you asked me to prove to you that Trump was racist. I gave you a bunch of examples of him being racist outside of office. And then you special pleaded and you're like, give me examples inside the office, and I still proved you wrong. So respond.
Well, okay. I don't personally agree with DEI. I think DEI is...
Dude, well, shut the fuck up, dude. What are you yapping about? I once again responded to the claims about him being racist. Yeah, this isn't just an opportunity for you to go yapping about nothing you know nothing about. You said he wasn't racist. I said he was, and I gave you evidence. Prove me wrong.
Okay, well, the refugees coming in from the fast-tracking immigration from white individuals from South Africa and Ukraine, yada, 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 yada. I don't have a response to that. That's whatever. That's okay. I'll give you that. Everything else, how, in talking about racism, how is that, or not, my bad, slavery, how in the end of the day is that Trump's fault? Trump wasn't alive while slaves were a thing. He has nothing to do with slavery in terms of that. So unless you want to talk about...
Yo, be genuine. Do you think I said Trump has been racist in office because of slavery?
I was just about to say, I've been listening this whole time. When did you say
mentioned slavery?
When I have not heard you say slavery at all.
I did. In what context did I mention slavery?
I don't remember. Bro, you talk fast. That's your method of debating.
The context in which I mentioned slavery was the fact that black Americans today have a lower socioeconomic standing on average compared to white Americans because of systemic racism, slavery, and its aftermath. And how they're disproportionately harmed and disenfranchised by Trump's economic policy that only hurts you more the less you make.
Well, yeah, you're going to make less, you're going to get hurt more. That's just natural in general.
Oh, wait, is that just acceptable?
Get up and get a better job. Start working harder. That's what I have to say.
Oh, so you think that anyone can just grab those bootstraps and pull themselves up?
But that's not even what the conversation is about. Like, we're not just talking about the fact that the poorer you are, the worse your life is, but we're talking about the fact that Donald Trump's policy is disproportionately making it worse for lower income Americans. Like, what? You're saying that you actually support making it worse for those that are poorer.
So you're saying no tax on overtime and no tax on tips is not helping the poor?
So what I'm saying is that all of his economic policy in totality reduces the purchasing power of every American making under $395,000 per year, disproportionately impacting those in the low and the middle class. The less you make, the more it impacts you. And that's according to the Institution on Economics and Taxation.
Also, I don't know if you've even paid attention to his quote unquote big, beautiful bill, 392 or 96 pages. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime. None of it is in said bill. That's not a thing. It's not happening.
He's been trying to push it. He actually tried to push it through.
He didn't.
But Congress didn't because guess who voted against it?
Who?
You guys.
Okay, who has control of the House?
Trump. Yes, he has.
Who has control of the Senate?
Trump. But
okay, so if they want to pass a bill, they can pass a bill. So don't say you guys. Listen, you guys don't get to actually blame Democrats for anything when the Republicans actually have the control and the power. That's why they're getting ready to pass this quote unquote big beautiful bill that will actually strip people of Medicaid, will strip SNAP benefits and harm millions of Americans. They're doing these things because they want to do these things, and they're not doing the things that you're talking about because they don't want to do those things.
Why wouldn't they do them then?
Because they don't want to.
Why wouldn't they provide tax cuts?
Because they don't want to. You know what they do want to do? They want to provide tax cuts to the ultra wealthy. That's why they're pushing through the big, beautiful bill that will actually strip away Medicaid, and it will actually continue the Trump tax cuts that he put in since 2017, which will continue to lower corporate corporate taxes and taxes on ultra wealthy, while the lower income have to pay more. So again, they're not doing these things because they don't want to do these things. They're doing what they want to do.
Also, I gotta ask you a question here, Luke. What's your average annual income?
Mine, I don't really. I've been studying.
Oh, Jesus Christ, bro! So you're lazy as fuck, is what I'm hearing.
He hasn't grabbed those bootstraps yet, Dean.
That this is what makes me think that like you don't actually think that being poor or having a low income is equivalent to being lazy and not pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, as you said.
I'm not saying all poor people
listen, Luke.
Unfortunate situation.
Because listen, Luke. You don't make that much money at all. If you were to truly believe what you're preaching, you'd have to say, I, Luke, am a lazy sack of shit.
But the difference between me and them is that wait, me and them? You're acting as if you exist outside of a different category. No,
once again, what's your average annual income? Come on.
Let me finish.
I get it, Dean. Luke said my broke is different than everybody else broke.
No, I'm
broke, but I'm special broke.
No, let me finish. I'm studying. I'm in school. I am studying.
You could be going to school and working a job at the same time.
Absolutely.
Is this is there like are you telling me that there is boundaries that are limiting you from having a higher income, such as going to school? Are you trying to tell me that you have less opportunity for specific reasons, such as education, compared to other individuals that may have more opportunity than you to earn a larger income? God, get the liberal communists out of here.
Oh, Luke, and at the very least, right, if you're going to extend yourself that grace, does that mean that you're going to start to extend others said grace?
If they're in school and trying to do something with their lives, then yeah, I don't see why not.
Wait, so the only factor that's acceptable is school?
School, yeah, for the most part, I would say, yeah.
Okay, so let's say that someone is physically unable to actually earn a higher income, right? Would that be an acceptable factor to you?
Okay, let me rephrase then. school, like if you're actually doing something to try and earn a higher income, physically or mentally.
Okay, wait. So so you're saying that if people are trying to earn a higher income, so they get an exemption if they're trying to earn a higher income, even if they don't have a higher income.
Well, if they're working their ass off in the West, yeah, realistically they'll be able to get that back.
You do understand that most people actually work paycheck to paycheck, and the majority of the people work more than one job, and they are still considered lower income. So, I mean, would that deem that most people are quote unquote working their ass off? I'm confused by your standards.
Yeah, bro. Like for instance, there's also a lot of like limitations insofar as where you live. Like where I live, the average income is around 30,000 a year. A lot of that because there's a lot of retired people here. That's neither here nor there. But you know, if you go out and you get a job, like the best you're gonna find is like 20 an hour. That's like the best you'll find here. 23, 24, 25 an hour is like a really good income where I live. All right. And that's like a little bit below the average American. And I think people working like that work their ass off. Do you disagree?
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not saying no, but I'm saying if you work hard enough, you'll win prizes and you'll win rewards.
That's not true. That's literally not true. That's not how any of this works. Luke, how old are you?
I'm 18.
I gotta say,
you're 18. Cool.
I'm like a capitalist and all, right? So's Dim, but like employers in America, they have the most incentive to get you to work as hard as possible while giving you as quote unquote little reward as possible. They exploit it until they're able to get to a point where they have just enough people interested in the job opportunity that they're offering to make sure they could still provide their products. So when you say when you work harder, you'll get rewarded more, you're actually the opposite is true. The employers want you to work harder and reward you less.
Yes. And to be specific, and I'm sorry, I'm 38 years old. I've been in corporate America like the majority of my life. The people that work the hardest aren't necessarily the people that get rewarded at all. Actually, they get more work, right? We we tend to say, "Oh, this person is reliable. This person is countable. We can count on this person. Let's make sure that this person is doing more." But it's not a situation where we say, "Well, this person is so hardworking that we want to give them a promotion, or we want to actually bring them." Did he run?
Yeah, he left. Oh, Santana, do you want to talk to the most insufferable person ever?
Sure. Wait, is this? It's not that guy that gosh, what was the guy's name? I was so pissed at you and Parker about that, and me and Athena was up here and was like, "What is this guy talking about? What was his name?"
Well, the Nazi?
No, it was like some.
Did he have
a tinfoil hat?
A red shirt, Steven? Paleo.
I can't remember. I can't remember. Yeah, let's. I got just a couple of minutes, and then I gotta go with my wife. I'd love to talk to him. Let's see what he has to say.
I'm done talking to him. I don't know. I want to let him run.
It was a guy. He was a flat earther. I remember that.
Yeah, let's let Steven run one argument on Santana. Okay. I just want to show Santana who Paleo is.
Okay. Hey Steven, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. I wanted to talk to Dean about the comments he made about Chief Justice Roberts concerning that President Trump
I got
doing an illegal action by deporting.
Last night, Monica paid me $20
Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
Last night, Monica paid me $20 to never talk to you again, and I'm going to uphold that promise to her.
You're going to dodge because you know you lied and you stepped in it. It was never illegal, and Justice Roberts never said President Trump was illegal. I'll read what Justice Roberts said if you'll let me. And guess where I'm going to read it from? Politico. Politico. Is Politico to the right? No. Is Politico to the middle? No. Politico is to the left. And then, if you let me speak, I'll read some more. We'll talk about some topics that you told me
I got a quick question.
I was an idiot.
Is it Paleo?
No. I want to talk about Justice Roberts.
Yeah, that's cool. I got a quick question for you. So
Paleo, no.
I have a quick question for you.
Paleo stands
do you believe
Paleo stands for the
judges are accurate
of the Americas, the first Americans who migrated to this continent over 12,000 years ago. That's what Paleo Stevens stands for, because I'm an archaeologist.
Oh, okay,
Now,
cool story, bro. Anyway, do you
okay, yeah,
believe that
but no. I want to talk
judges
about Chief
actually
Justice
have?
Roberts.
Do you actually believe that
I want to
judges,
talk
the
about
actual
Chief
premise
Justice
of
Roberts
what
and the
judges say
comment
is
that
founded in
Dean
law
made
and they should
yesterday
actually
that he
be
stepped
followed?
in.
So Paleo, you agree with judges, right? Is that what you're saying? You actually you
No, I don't.
Oh,
No, I don't
Santana,
agree
no, he
with every
disagrees.
judge.
He
No,
disagrees with judges.
Oh, okay. So
no. I said I don't. No. Don't put words in my mouth. I said I don't agree with every or all judges.
Hey, Paleo, we're gonna do something real quick. You got a computer in front of you?
So you're going to tell me? So I'm a conservative. Should I agree with a Democrat
Paleo,
appointed activist judge
be
like
quiet. Do
from
you have a computer in front of you?
California?
Do you have a computer in front of you?
No.
Okay. Do you have any device
Yeah, sure
connected to
do.
the internet? Okay. Go to Google. Let me know when you're there.
Yeah, I sure do. But I want to read what
No,
I want.
yeah,
I'm not
this
getting
is gonna
off
be
the
worth the
page
time.
I'm at to where I can read what Chief Justice Roberts said.
I'm gonna direct you to SupremeCourt.gov. Okay. So let me know when you're on Google.
No. I want to read to you. These are comments that Chief Justice Roberts said.
I want you to
Let me
go
ask
to
you a
Google.
question.
I want you
Let
to
me
go to
ask you a
Google. I
question.
want you to go to Google, and I want you to
No.
type in.
No. We're not playing that game.
I want you to
this
type
guy
in.
is insufferable.
Yeah, Noem, Noem, V. Abrigo Garcia, 4-10-2025. The first thing that pops up is going to be a PDF on the Supreme Court's website. And then this is going to be the ruling from the Supreme Court, number 24A949, that was made on April 10th, 2025. I'm going to read you the first half paragraph. On March 15th, 2025, the United States removed Armando Abrigo Garcia from the United States to El Salvador, where he is currently detained in the Center for Terrorism Confinement, CCOT. The United States acknowledges that Abrigo Garcia was subject to withholding order forbidding his removal to El Salvador, and that the removal to El Salvador was therefore illegal. The United States represents the removal to El Salvador was the result of an administrative error. The United States alleges, however, that he had been found to be a member of a gang MS-13, a designated foreign terrorist organization, and that his return to the United States would pose a threat to the public. Abrigo Garcia responds that he is not a member of MS-13 and he has lived safely in the United States with his family for a decade and has never been charged with a crime.
Bet you he's still speaking. He's been speaking this entire time on
Okay.
mute and had no idea.
No, I've been sitting here quiet. That's not true. Okay, now after you read what you did, let me read what I'm going to read to you, which is basically pretty much the same thing, but it goes in more detail. Just hours before a midnight deadline Monday, Chief Justice John Roberts gave the Trump administration a reprieve from having and immediately bring back to the U.S. a man who was illegally deported to El Salvador last month. Roberts acted shortly after Trump administration.
If I let him talk more, I'd be breaking my promise to Monica.
That guy was insufferable. Holy smokes.
Yeah, he thinks.
Listen.
Go ahead.
No. What were you about to say?
He thinks that Abrigo Garcia's deportation was legal, even though like the Supreme Court ruled it wasn't. That guy's crazy. He really is.
Just get some of those. Anyway, I gotta go. Me and the wife are heading out, so I'll see you later.
I appreciate you for coming up, man, and I hope that you have a good rest of your day.
Absolutely, you too.
Take care. Moving on to the next guest, everyone. Give us a minute to get the next guest up on the live. There's a couple people I'd like to thank here. Hyped Phantom, thank you for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat. We don't have time for your hypotheticals, Paleo. Fuck, I should have told him that. Smart, very smart. And then Sid, thank you for the $50 Super Chat over on YouTube. I want to see 500 Sid W's. Down below in that chat, literally right now. Oh my God, Sid. Sid says, I spent the last hour leading a meeting of 50 people, and you connected to the Bluetooth speaker in the beginning. Just know you were loud and clear in an elementary school staff meeting. Oh no. Oh no, I'm gonna brainwash them all. Let's go. Burning, thank you for the $20 over on YouTube Super Chat. Who's your co-debater with you, Dean? And can we get a socials? Also, Tiny Blue Dot in Montana. We watch you every live stream and can't wait to learn how to argue like you do. Yeah, you could find my socials quite easily. find his socials by just searching up Santana on TikTok, Santana. Thank you so much for the love. That's incredibly kind of you. As well as Dorothy, thank you for the $20 over on YouTube Super Chat. I do really appreciate you so much for the love. Shout out Dorothy, everybody. Shout out Dorothy. And then Howard, thank you for the $50 over on YouTube Super Chat, saying, what the hell is a show trial? Both juries were picked by the prosecution and the defense. Dead on, Howard. You were absolutely right. Show Howard some love in the chat for the $50. And Kelly with the $50 over on PayPal as well. That is Kellie. I want to see 1,000 Howard W's, 1,000 Kelly W's. As a 35-year-old lesbian, wife and mother of a beautiful boy, I'm beyond proud of you for sticking up for the quote-unquote little people. I hope my son is as passionate about equity and equality as you one day. Kelly, thank you for the $50 donation and for the sweetest donation message I've read all day. That is so incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much, Kelly. Show some love to Howard and Kelly in that chat. As well as Monta with a 5, Anna with a 10, and Evan with a 1 over there on PayPal. John with a 5 on Venmo, and then Cassie with a 20 over on Venmo. Thank you for the love, Cassie. It's incredibly kind, Cassie and John. Welcome in, Matt. Take it away.
Hey, okay, so I'll be very brief, but I thought this point just had to be made, right? So, Dean, do you have the Gnome via Garcia a PDF still up?
I do.
Okay, can you tell me what the date is on that? It's at the top.
Yeah, April 10th.
Okay, so I looked up that Politico article, right? And it is dated April 7th, which is important because that's the date that John Roberts decided to lift the injunction so that they could rule on it. So what he was reading was before this ruling actually went into effect, which is why looking at dates is kind of important because your source, which is the actual court opinion, supersedes his source because it was dated 3 days prior to that actually coming out. So I'm just pointing out, Paleo, as an archaeologist, you should have better skills at like finding sources. I'm just saying that. Okay, well, thank you.
Dude, Matt is rocking today. Let me
Thanks,
tell you.
Dean.
Have a good rest of your day, Matt. Beautiful. Okay. All right. Chat. I think I'm going to go to an end for the night. Listen. Guess what I'm doing tonight? I am playing Fortnite with and having a chat with Peyton. Yeah. So, that's happening. That's it. It's very interesting, huh? Anyways, so I'm going to probably spend around an hour doing that tonight. Run some duos, run some trios. Something like that. Have a chat. See what's going on. But yeah. I'm going to go to an end for the night. For the 4.7 thousand people in the TikTok stream, I say we find somebody to raid. Oh, yeah, and Parker's back tomorrow. Allison, thank you for the $20 over on YouTube Super Chat, saying good night. Good night, Allison. Thank you for the $20. At least according to something that he posted on his YouTube community. So that'd be cool. Let's find somebody to raid. Who's on TikTok.com? Everyone give us 1 minute. We're loading up TikTok on Google. Finding somebody to raid. It's just being very laggy, quite frankly. That's the truth. Oh, it doesn't look like too many people are on right now. Parker, thank you for the $10 over on Venmo. What the hell?